Okay, we're recording. There's my sound
Nice.
waves. Lovely, lovely sound waves. Alright, let's go ahead and say, before we get started, let's step my microphone back from me a little, I'm a little loud. Let's say before we get started that we'd like to thank our patrons like Ahiko Comics. If you like what we do and want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon, like quite a few people have been doing. Not at very high levels, but that's okay, we don't care. We've been getting a couple extra patrons, that's cool.
Nice.
It really helps us out. You get lots of goodies, like access to episodes early. In the case of audio downloads, sometimes way early. And it really helps us out. Thanks for your support, everybody. So, lucky.
Oh, man.
We're doing the thing.
Again, like, I always see the green circle that says Omega's talking. Don't hear his voice. Super annoying. But I'm assuming he was going, so Lucky, what's up with you? Or something to that effect where we get the show started.
Yep. The show's started now.
Yeah. What's up with me? Well, let's see here. There's typhoons going on in Pacific Islands. Teachers are strike here in Tacoma. Let's see here. Riot Games is, well, let's see, insulting their fan base.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk took a hit of weed and lost money because of it.
He still got shitloads of money. Also, that thing, like, that's... Oh my god, that's so dumb. But, listen, once again, I would like to say this to the audience. I'm a criminal justice major. I spent 2 years of my life studying this subject. The way we... I personally think the way we treat drug crimes is dumb anyway. The war on drugs and get tough on crime and shit like that, that doesn't actually help society. That just is generally shittier for everybody.
The 90s.
Yeah, but marijuana especially is really mishandled from a legal standpoint, and thus from a cultural standpoint. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, but, like, no shit. It was a couple days ago when Elon Musk, top guy over at Tesla, basically went on a podcast with Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan does this trademark thing where, like, at some point during the podcast, he lights up a joint and smokes it. He was kind enough to... And
what state is Joe Rogan in, actually?
California, where marijuana is legal for recreational use.
Yeah, down here in Florida, we approved it last election cycle for medicinal use. I'm gonna guess recreational is probably gonna be on the ballot this year, and it might pass.
Yeah, I said I'm in Washington State. We also have it approved for recreational use, along with Colorado and a few other states. But Elon Musk, he's not an actually habitual pot smoker. He actually went on record saying that he doesn't like it because it actually slows productivity. A cup of coffee is much better. But he was like, oh yeah, when in Rome, and he took a hit. And of course, this podcast is being broadcasted, so everyone sees Elon Musk take this hit. And apparently, at this point, his phone started blowing up of people going, "What the fuck are you doing?"
He's smoking a doobie, bro.
Smoking
the
a
man's
doobie.
A fucking adult,
and
it's legal where he was. If you want to get into the whole... we're going to have some conversations, I think, about how you interact with social media and people as individuals and business in a second. That's why you mentioned Riot.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Elon Musk is in the middle of kind of a clusterfuck with his social media interactions with people. But he's just a dude also, right? Living his life.
Yeah, I know. He's like, he had a chance to experience something and took it. But, like, I'm not sure if these numbers are exact. As I said, I didn't do, like, a super amount of research. But supposedly, like, the next day, the stocks for his company had fallen by 7%. I mean, the stock market does what the stock market does, which goes up and down all the time. But I don't think Tesla has really had much of a decrease, especially with all that they've been putting out recently. Yeah. So a lot of people are pointing fingers and saying, yeah, that's because you took a fucking hit. But again, like, I kind of feel like a lot of like those stockholders were probably very conservative.
Maybe.
Like,
I don't know. Let's see. Businesses and politics are weird. Like, there was a recent thing I know where, I think it was in California, people were bringing up that In-N-Out Burger was supporting the like Republican National Council, Republican candidates.
I mean, well, you always see stories about that because I remember when for a while, who was it? Was it Chick-fil-A?
Well,
People
yeah,
were telling people to
Chick-fil-A is a conservative-run business. It's run by
Yeah.
religious founders. That's why they're not open on Sundays. And
Yeah.
they have, in the past, given to organizations against, say, LGBT rights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But at the same
Yeah.
time, their chicken is delicious, so... Honestly, we've talked about business
Hey,
before
man.
in this show. There's a difference between, like... Oh, does my money like, if you spend a couple bucks on some fucking chicken, that does not go to a company that is, like, supporting things you don't like. Most of that's going to, like, the guy working a shitty 9-to-5 handing you your fucking chicken. Now, obviously, yes, if lots of people go to buy chicken, but if you personally want to be like, fuck, I really want some Chick-fil-A, that's not, like, an evil karma on you. That's, like, a collective evil karma on the free market that allows Chick-fil-A to exist, which is no big deal, because even if you stop, people will still go to Chick-fil-A.
And people like, we're probably
Also-
gonna get into this later, but
Doesn't...
like people like a lot of people have this mentality that they're the only ones who like really in the know. They're the only ones that are trying to do something, and I kind of find that to be kind of a toxic mindset because I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people who fucking know or in the know. They also just realize that they're just one person out of many, and unless everyone stages some great uprising, like a full revolution, not much is gonna change.
Yeah, we've talked about false elitism a lot on... Well, I mean, it's not even false, but it's dumb elitism on the show a
Yeah.
lot, because I think both you and I firmly agree on how dumb that is a lot of the time. The idea
Yeah.
that, you see a lot of it in people who are self-righteous and exclusive about everything. I suspect that's just part of the human nature. We've talked about how humans are, like, self-organizing in social circles. Maybe it's just once we get a big enough social circle, we're in a big enough society, we have to be like, well, shit, there's too many people in this society. Clearly, we need to make smaller societies within our society and lord it over the people not in it. Because that just feels like that happens a lot. Whether that's with, like, hobbies where you get, like, exclusive elitists. We've talked about a lot on this in Let's Talk FGO. People, oh, you dirty secondary, you watched an anime adaptation. You haven't read the original visual novel. You mean the one that's not officially translated in English? You can read the translations. The fan translations are excellent and perfect. Now, I'm pretty sure there's some errors in there, but whatever.
Whatever.
Like, this is not related to the direct topic, but for the longest time, people didn't realize this, but it came out with, like, a recent, like, earlier this year with some recent notes on one of the characters or something, but the idea that in Fate, the Einsburn family has the Rheingold, the cursed gold from Siegfried's legend. Nobody realized that at all because it was not properly translated into English by the fan translators. So, like, your ideological purity isn't as pure as you'd like, and not everybody has the opportunity in their life to, like, learn Japanese and read it in the original.
Like you see a lot of this happening, and especially with politics of people trying to push their political views and whatnot. And like especially like on the internet, like for all the good the internet brings us, lets us connect across time and space, that isn't necessarily a good thing. You'll hear people like completely just bash other people's for whatever political views just for the fact that they have the ability to. And yet, oh, excuse me.
Well, yeah.
And yet,
so, what was it? It's something Penny Arcade came up with. Was it Gabe's Gift? Greater Internet Fuckwad Theory? The idea that
probably
platform plus anonymity equals assholes, which it does. I'm pro some level of anonymity in the internet because, quite frankly, I think it's very important that people are able to openly discuss their beliefs, whatever their beliefs are, without, people being able to, like, out them and turn that into a whole thing. Because let's be real, that regardless of your political affiliation, that can happen, and that's shitty. Like,
Oh yeah.
in the past, if you were, say, gay, or you possessed certain political leanings that might be considered communist or socialist, that was a career ender if that got out, possibly a life ender.
Yeah, I was about to say it could be a life ender.
But
and like even nowadays,
it can be a thing where you flip that, where like, to put it on the other cheek, the certain progressive or left-leaning groups will be like, oh, we just talked about this, you gave to the Republican Party, the conservatives, we're gonna boycott you. Like, it's the same shoe on the other foot. This is very relevant to the discussion I think we're about to have about Riot, where it's like,
oh yeah,
guys, two wrongs don't make a right.
To...
Repeating the same shitty behavior just because it was done to you doesn't necessarily make it a good thing. Instead, you should treat everybody with empathy and understanding, because, as I like to say, we are all the same color inside. A lovely quote from Shakespeare: "If you prick us, do we not bleed?" Which, let me see, is that from Merchant of Venice? I think it's from Merchant of Venice, and it's about the Jews. That is a Jewish character saying, hey, if you cut me, don't I bleed red blood like you? Which is true. Every human being, if you stab him, he's going to bleed a little bit, he's going to die. Or she, or he, or it, or whatever. There's blood inside you, and it comes out, and you die.
All right, so I'm going to rewind this conversation a little bit back to when we were talking about politics and whatnot. Because a lot of people, the social justice warriors, keyboard warriors, whatever you have, will often spout a good game, or not even a good game, they'll just spout whatever bullshit they decide to contrive, and don't actually do anything else. I give a lot more weight to the words of someone who actually is doing something to try and enact change. Like, if you go and talk to these people, like, how many people actually, like, who have all these political leanings and whatnot, how many actually know the names of, like, their local politicians? Like, you'd be really surprised how much they are just spouting. Oh, man, I drank a Monster, and I am super gassy right now.
It's fine. They understand. It's what's up. It's super casual, except for the fact that we're talking about heavy shit.
Yeah. Like, me, personally... Like, I don't get really super into politics and whatnot, like non-discussions and whatnot, because, as I said, internet, I honestly don't think is the best place to have it. I really don't. I can understand the need for anonymity, but unless you can see the person who are saying those things and understand the background that they come from, most often it will fall upon deaf ears because, as I said, you're the only one, like, as when you're looking through a screen, you do not feel the weight of that person. You just see their words. Me, though, I like to write letters to my governor. Like, that's something I do, like, every couple months when, like, a new issue comes up. Like, the governor for Washington right now is Jane Inslee. He's a Democrat. He's kind of an okay dude. I'm with him on some things. I'm against him on other things. But I write him letters to let him know that. Is it a lot that I'm doing? Not really. But do you know what? I guarantee it's a lot more than fucking other people are doing who just talk way more than me.
Yeah. I've done that before, too. I've sent, like, emails and letters about a couple of key issues to, like, my senator or my governor.
Yeah, it's
the moment I know that it's more effective to try and call them, but the moment you get me on the phone, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to deal with it. I hate phones.
Yeah,
like,
I don't want to know.
I hate that level of communication. I hate talking on the phone. I hate phone calls for, like, interviews and stuff. It's
That's
weird
like,
that I am a modern human. Like, I was born in 92. I'm almost 26 years old, believe it or not.
Man,
fuck
like,
phones.
I am eloquent as fuck when I write something out.
Well, yeah, because you have time to edit.
Yeah.
Also,
but put me on, like, live.
I was homeschooled. My mother was smart. She took one look at my handwriting, because while I was still in public school, they make you take fucking handwriting classes for the not quite cursive and stuff. She took one look at my handwriting and said, "You're terrible at this. You're not going to get any better, are you? Let's teach you how to type." And she got me, like, jumpstart typing and stuff. And I type pretty good now. I kind of suck at typing tests because that's always like a weird thing where you're, like, transcribing something, but typing my own thoughts super fast.
Yeah. So as I said, I'm gonna use this as a basis of people actually don't know much about the shit they're spewing. They usually just handpick a few facts and then just cling to them, like, regardless of whatever evidence is presented against it.
And we should say this, despite the fact that what we may have said about some issues I think we've discussed and stuff, and we're both seem fairly moderate. And when we're not picking on one side. Like,
No.
I will say this: bipartisanship or partisanship, I should say, fucking frustrates me. It really frustrates me about our state of government.
Yeah.
George Washington on his deathbed told us to avoid political parties, and he was right because, oh my god, regardless of your belief, the idea of forming political blocks, and especially in recent decades, digging your feet in and not moving just because the other guy came up with it, that's really fucking frustrating. Like, I'm rubbing the bridge of my nose now, guys. You can't see me, but I'm doing it.
Like, I tell a lot of people, like, the American government system, it needs a really, really big overhaul. Like almost like full-on revolution status fixing. Because we mentioned this on the show, it's like it's just been errors piled upon errors piled upon errors, and no one's fixing the errors. And now we just have a big mess.
Well, because honestly, a lot of the errors are like cultural. They're like the once again, did some study in the law aspect. Immense respect for the way the Constitution is framed, and a lot of the core aspects of our government are built up. They are built fairly broad and fairly flexible for a reason. They were intended to allow our society to kind of promote its own liberty and figure out what the fuck is going on, because super strict systems, they realized, didn't necessarily work. So they wanted to build something flexible that could apply for the foreseeable future. And the framework has, unfortunately, I think a little bit of the flexibility has come back to bite, because some people have abused a lot of these concepts to, like, change how they are stuff, because there are some things, I think, that our founding fathers did not prepare for. I'm pretty sure lobbying is one of those things. And the concept of being a career politician, because at that time period when they set this up, being a politician was doing your civic duty, right? It was you volunteered to leave your real job, whether that be as a landowner, a craftsman, or whatever, or if you were working class, you leave your day job to go do this thing where you have to fucking leave your home and go to the capital, whether it be your state capital, your government capital, and go like, hey, I'm here to do my job as a politician. Now, politicians get in there for a couple years, they buy like 5 houses and they retire. And they start speaking tours.
Or they, cling on to being
or they
a
don't
politician,
retire,
and,
which is also terrible. And I'm pro term limits for everybody. I don't know what the term
Both,
limit is,
yeah.
but fuck, you should not be able to, because this is the thing that's always weird. Like, a lot of people, like, are we actually progressing? Are we actually moving forward? I think so. Like, whenever they do studies, subsequent generations are genuinely more progressive than the previous ones. Like, if you ask modern young people, most of them are pretty accepting of a lot of our big contentious issues, right? Like, they're pro-racial equality, pro-gender equality, transgender issues. Like, they're like, yeah, whatever. We're the modern human. But we've got all these old fucks running our government who are, like, trying to speak for these people. And some of them, I think, do genuinely feel it. Some of them, I think, pretend to feel what it is because that's what their constituents, the people who always vote for them, are saying they should care about. So they're like, well, fuck, I mean, on the one hand, you're working for the people, so that's good that you're reflecting their voice. But at the same time, it's like, if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, why are you here?
And unfortunately, like I said, a lot of the old-time owners, they have views. Like I said, people's views don't, like, necessarily change, especially the older you get. So, like, these are, like,
factual
people, like, anywhere between, their 50s to 70s. They have views from, back in, like, our 60s or 50s, our 60s, 70s, and 80s. I said, times were different then. Like, the invention of the internet was, as I said, it was Pandora's box. Or
actually, I talked about informatics in our Discord just a little bit, talking about, like, transcription. Like, we were talking about Arthurian mythology and how there are lots of different characters who end up swapped around. Sometimes there are siblings or similar characters created, and I said some of this might just be because they fucked up the transcription on names, because, like, there's like a billion ways to spell everybody's names in Arthurian mythology, but that was because a lot of that was pre or concurrent to the printing press. So transcription was done like by hand. It depended on the individual's handwriting and skill and ability to read, and sometimes the stuff could get damaged. Then they invented the printing press, and suddenly informatics became uniform.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. You could mass produce something printed the exact same way every time. The internet and digital tech is a lot of the same way. You can store information, you can perfectly copy and replicate it with no damage to the original, and move it and distribute it. And just...
So, here, like I said, I had another point I was going to bring up, but I said this new thought sidetracked it. But there's been an interesting study that shows statistically, like, things are getting better for us overall.
Yeah, I think human quality of life's up, lifespan's up.
Yeah, like everything's up, like crimes, violence, discrimination, those are all down.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are all down.
Crime has actually been going down for a while.
Yeah, see, but everyone's like, but why is it all showing up in like media nowadays? It's because it's social media. People now have the ability to instantaneously share these things across the globe and gain
and honestly
reactions.
That's something you should not even think about modern decades. Think about the past. Think about like 100 years ago, 200, 500, when news didn't travel at all. Like, pre-telegraph, to get news somewhere, you had to put a guy on a horse, or God forbid, on foot, runners, and have him carry either a written message or a verbal message. Then the telegraph, then you gotta, like, send it on the lines, and it has to be short. Then they invented the telephone, and you could, wherever the telephone lines ran, you could pick up a fucking line, and you could call somebody, and you could tell them. And now we're on the internet, and we've got wireless. You can literally just throw information out into the fucking air, and somebody's other air will suck it up.
It's like people like don't understand, like, as far as technological developments goes, this is pretty damn fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
and I will say, some of that is like, we don't want to sound like necessarily that's bad.
No,
it does skew some people's perspective, but at the same time, it has brought issues to light, right? Like the ability for people to share their stories and information. Like, that's caused a lot of, I think, revolution and thoughts on police brutality.
Yep.
Which is, once again, that's kind of my field of study. I have a lot of thoughts on that issue of, like, how we handle police, and I'm kind of glad that it comes up. Body cams are real good, and dash cams, like recording the officers and letting them know that they're being, who watches the watchman? Well, we fucking watch you, buddy. Yeah. That's how I feel it's handled. At the same time, I think a lot of that's like systemic, and it's not the officer's fault, because there is one thing that we have an unfortunate problem with, which is that there has been a paramilitarization of our police. Not just because of 9/11 and terrorism, but even before that, like, the fucking LAPD with their fucking infantry fighting vehicle, right? They put the battering ram on.
Oh my god!
To crack open like crack houses and shit, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, scholars have said, like, people studying have been like, I didn't actually change crime, but the officers were like, oh, it's big and scary, lets them know we're coming. I don't know why I'm suddenly Southern, even though I'm describing an LAPD officer. I'm pretty sure there were some Texas law enforcement agencies that did get some big hoopty stuff. Yeah, no. And I just think to myself, that is excessive. You're spending shitloads of money to buy a fucking army surplus vehicle. You take all the fun stuff off, so it's just got a battering ram, so you can kick in the door of a crack house and feel like your big dick swinging. But
like, to be fair, though, I will actually, you gotta remember, cops, they do have a
that's the other thing. Like, I totally feel for cops in high-stress situations. Like I said, do you know why cops and nurses often end up together? It's because they're doing the same shit. Like, they work similar hours. They work similar life-and-death high-stress situations.
Yeah.
Like, they can understand each other. And I understand a little bit of that, like, studying crime and law enforcement. At the same time, I feel like we have not necessarily been approaching cops in the best way to think about some of these things, right?
Like a lot of the problem is, like I said, like, me and Omega, we're more moderate thinkers. We're fine with, some of column A, some of column B.
Yeah.
A lot of people
I understand certain amounts of force are necessary in your life, right? Like, if you see a threat and you believe it, you gotta do it. At the same time, I also think to myself, you guys are, protect and serve. If it sounds a little rough, and like I said, I can't say this like I'm not directly in law enforcement, but I studied. At the same time, I do feel a little bit like if you take the oath to protect and serve, like if the choice is between an innocent person taking a bullet and you taking a bullet, it is your job to take the bullet. As a cop, you accept that when you sign up. It's like, becoming a soldier. You accept the risks that, fate just might decide that you take a bullet today. We should do what we can to mitigate that. But once again, like I said, if the choice is between you and a civilian, it should be you. And if you're not okay with that, you should not be a cop.
Yeah. As I said, police corruption. There is definitely police corruption. Like, it is.
Yeah, we studied that a lot.
It's unescapable. Like,
the thin blue line, the blue wall of silence, shit like that. Because once again, we talked about how cops are in high situations. Hey, guess who's also in that situation? Other cops.
Mm-hmm.
So they cover for each other.
It's like honestly, like me personally, like a lot of people is like I'm half black, so I'm like on my best day, like on my worst days, I look Latino. On my best days, I kind of look like I'm like maybe like I'm black diet. And I have never had a bad interaction with a cop. Never. I've been pulled over several times. I've had a cop stop me because like maybe he thought I was doing something wrong, but I was like explaining my situation. He was like, "Oh, okay, never mind. Get out of here." Like I remember like one time I got pulled over. My registration was like a year overdue, and I had no proof of insurance on me. The cop like came up to me. He was a white gentleman. He came up to me. He gave me the cop look, and he's like, "Excuse me, sir, would you like to clear any drugs, weapons, BOSs?" And I was like, "What the fuck? What's a BOS?" And he's like, "A box of shoes." And sure enough, I had a box of shoes in my back seat. And he was like, yes. He's like, "All right then." And, he completely broke the ice. And I was able to relax. The guy, like, he gave me the tickets too, but then told me, like, how to get out of them. It's like...
That's good copetry. And you see that sometimes. Yeah. Like, some people are genuinely in that job because, like I said, protect and serve. They're looking out for people.
Yeah, and, like I said, all these videos of like, police brutality and whatnot, yeah, they're out there, but that's not all there is to cops. The cops aren't just one giant conglomerate blue force of fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like...
Well, yeah, that's something we've talked about boxes, too.
Yeah.
Like, people tend to organize other people into boxes, and once you're in that box, you stay in the fucking box. Don't you dare get out of that box. You love all those other box people with you, you dumb box person.
And, like... So, it's so... Yeah, it's like just one of those things of... You can't just look... You have to look at the picture as a whole. You can't just nitpick here and there and say this is your argument. Like... So I'm gonna try and use this to segue into the next topic that I want to talk about. Unless you have anything else you want to say, Omega.
One thing I do want to say, I think, is maybe that we extenuate the negative a lot. I think, because that helps people's political view, and it's a common argumentation tactic. Hey, guess what? Omega was a huge nerd. I took critical thinking classes in college also.
It's easy for people to remember negative things. It really is. I don't know why.
And I will say this, like, as a creator, we've probably experienced this. Somebody leaves a negative comment, they call you on some stuff. It sticks with you a while, right? Like, it sucks for a bit. When you see somebody say something nice, like, oh, that was nice, and then you move on with your day. Somebody says something bad. Maybe that's just people in creative works. It lingers with you, because most often, and the stuff that lingers with you is stuff you think about yourself. So, like, if somebody's like, God, your guys' audio quality sucks, I'm like, yeah. Our audio quality does suck. Fuck. It's all my fault.
Well, see, here's the thing. When something says something negative, like in a creative sense, that means there might be an opportunity to fix it. You don't need to fix what's already working.
Mm-hmm. True. If people like something, obviously, like, if...
you
can refine that process, and if you're like, okay, people like this, but this isn't close to what my quote-unquote artistic vision is, you can keep moving on that. But if somebody says something negative and like multiple people say it, you're like, well, shit, okay, something's wrong here. Is this specific to that person, or is this like a general thing that I can work on, because like you can't please everybody.
Yeah, no. So then you have to actually like sit down and analyze it and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And how you analyze it, who knows? You might get angry at the person, you might be angry at yourself, depression, all that stuff. It's a huge flux.
Right. And you don't have to
looking
have
at-
just one reaction. Some days you can be
Yeah.
like, you can get a little sassy with them, and you can shoot back. And then other days you can be like, you're sitting up at night, it's 5 a.m., you're staring at the ceiling, you're going, fuck that comment though.
Yeah.
That's real life, by the way. That's me. But no, what I wanted to say though was that people naturally accentuate the negative to get their arguments done. And like you said, you know, like, I'm sure there's a dumb hashtag like not all cops or something like that.
Probably.
But that's real though.
Oh, man.
Like the concept is real. We just boil it down to a dumb thing because social media and like optics and stuff. But it is important, I think, to get optics on both sides of a story. Getting both sides of the story is important. Even if the other side of the story, I'll be real. Even if the other side of the story is shitty, like there are morally reprehensible viewpoints and opinions and stuff. Even so, you should at least listen to those people and hear what the fuck it is they're saying, because that's how you fight their arguments. That's how you let them know, oh, what you just said was real wrong. I know, because I listened to you and I thought some things about it. Like, just so it is important to consider both sides of an issue, and when there are clearly not black and white issues, because very few things are clearly black and white, really.
I can't really think of anything that's black and white.
Well,
that's just
I mean, like,
way
when you speak in generalities, nothing is black and white. When you speak in specifics, some stuff are black and white.
I guess, yeah.
If you walk up to the street and pull a gun and pop somebody you don't know, like, not even like turning this into like a mass shooting thing, or like you stab them, whatever. Like, if you for no reason kill somebody at all in the street, that was probably wrong of you. Like, I can't think of any specific context where that was a good, right thing that you did.
It might not have been a right. It might not have been a right thing, but it might not have been a wrong thing. Like, fun fact: when I was in the 3rd grade, I was on a bunch of medications because they was dealing with my host of mental issues. They fucked up my system pretty bad. It fucked up my brain chemistry to the point that, while I was in 3rd grade, sitting next to my best friend, I, without like pausing, without blinking, without any sort of like trigger at all, I grabbed my pencil and I jammed it into the back of my friend's back. Needless to say, I like didn't know what was going on until he was screaming in pain. I got committed to a mental asylum for children for 2 weeks while they tried to figure out what the fuck was going on with my medication. So, as I said, as you were saying, yeah, I totally just injured someone for no reason whatsoever, but the reason behind that might not have been entirely my fault.
True. I was thinking more in like a purely random, but you're right. That even goes further. Like, let's say generalities are almost never black and white, but specifics might be.
Yeah.
So because most people deal with generalities, you should look at both sides of an issue and consider them, and then figure out, even if the other side's wrong to you, figure out like how they're wrong and stuff. And that's more, I just wanted to get into the idea that yes, we should promote the idea that not all cops are assholes, and like try and find behaviors in cops we want to encourage and promote them, because there's a carrot and a stick, guys. You cannot exist solely on negative reinforcement.
Nope. Now, we mentioned this a little bit here, we're kind of hinting at it, but there's also an issue that happened with Riot Games. Excuse me. So, as everyone know, Riot Games, their big IP is League of Legends. Super big, super popular, it even got its own esport. And recently, they were over at PAX West.
Well, we should. There's a prelude to this that are you familiar with the story that kind of, I think, premeditated this?
Yeah. So there was an article like some time ago about talking about how like the company was actually really sexist, like very
and had a toxic work environment. Like both men and women were like incredibly uncomfortable with this workspace.
Yeah. Now they had a seminar at PAX West, and I guess it's kind of maybe their response to this debacle, because those seminars were only open to women and non-binary folk. No males allowed.
And there also seemed to be some back and forth on this. Like, sometimes they were saying, like, some panels are just closed, others are just like, the room will be closed until X time for males, etc.
Yeah, so I don't want to get like strictly into gender-based discussions here, because, like, as we said, nothing's black or white. There's things on both sides of the issue.
Yeah, I'll say this. Identity politics in particular is a huge fucking quagmire in our society right now, and we just don't want to weigh into it. We just... It's a big deal that people get nasty about no matter what you say, and we're just like, we're not here to fight about that.
No.
We're just a couple of people on the internet.
Is that when, people on the internet, like particularly Reddit, got like word of this, like there was a lot of outcry. People are like, what the fuck?
And there were, the article that you linked me to on this, there were like mixed concerns. Like there were even some women who were like, yeah, I don't know if I'm comfortable with this idea.
Yeah. And they got a response from Riot, specifically Riot's Daniel Klein, who is the system designer for like a couple of champions. And in it, like, I'm not going to read it specifically. I'm pretty sure if you like type in Riot,
if you haven't heard this already, you could probably find it pretty quick.
Find it quick. But basically goes on a tirade against people, like full on calling wait, hang on. Where
I'm laughing about it already.
Calls people absolutely overgrown toddlers throwing hissy fits to their entire player base, or anyone who had an issue with this, and then stood by it.
Remember how we said shit's not black and white?
Yeah.
Also, by the way, I'm laughing because there's a horrible irony to this that I'm pretty sure this guy doesn't see, that who besides literal children actually calls people children, right? Like, who seriously says, you're such a toddler? Do grown-ass adults say that?
No.
It's
like
so
I said, I have a pretty colorful language myself.
We're not PC by any means, and that's entirely the internet's fault. My parents don't like it when I swear. My mother especially doesn't, but whatever. Listen, I have a casual tone of speaking to people. I speak to you, the audience, in the most casual, non-formal tone, which means I swear a lot because I watched a lot of YouTube and stuff in my formative years, as a late teen.
So, like, as I said, he's basically like defending their decision and whatnot, and I can get behind it. If you want to defend your actions, go for it.
Nope.
But he completely and utterly just tore into people, insulting people. This guy has like over 18,000 followers on Twitter. Like, remember how we were talking about, like, I think it was like on Let's Talk FGO, how we were talking about, like, you have to be careful about your, like, social media engagement with people.
Yeah, because we've had some back and forth, and honestly, like, we can talk about it on this show because it's also related to, like, other mobile games we play. Like, you and I have both been praising Azure Lane's English Twitter because they are, like, super engaged. They've got a lot of back and forth. They're throwing out memes and stuff. And it's real nice. It's real pleasant.
Yeah.
I would say it's how you want to run the social media for their type of game.
Yeah, they're not like super, like, you're not super friendly, but they post, like, Azure Lane's Twitter. They post art, they post stream videos. They just recently posted the music for the Oath system that's coming out, which I think is super cool. And
like we said, their language is very casual and friendly. Apparently there was some kind of login bug, and they're like, we're sorry, we fixed it. We'll give you Apollo gems.
They actually said Apollo gems. I'm all like, does someone play FGO over there? Maybe. And it's actually probably completely possible. I don't know if Apollo gems is a complete FGO term, but that's where I picked it up. So, yeah.
I mean, that's the only place I heard it before this.
And so to have a guy who's like definitely higher, definitely like, he's not, top manager or whatever. He's a systems designer, but that's still up there. That's a degree and some change. Probably. Insulting people on what can be taken as almost an official statement. Because see, here's the thing,
and And keep in mind, this sort of thing has gotten developers canned before. There have been recent incidents where people have been volatile to fans or just internet people as themselves, and it has gotten them fired from their workplace because it's like, yo, you can't be being incendiary to our customer base like that, right? Like, we've talked about how corporations work a lot. Like, even if you have, like, a corporate message or whatever, at the same time, there's a certain amount of concessions to be like, this is our customer base. We are not engendering goodwill by yelling at them.
No.
Actually, this is a good question for both you and the audience, Lucky. Has there ever been a time where somebody has yelled at their audience and insulted or dismissed them, and it created a positive change for them?
A positive change, like if you're talking about genuine yelling and insulting, not in like something, and not in a comedical or satire fashion, or even what's the word I want to say, staged.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean this situation with Riot.
No.
Situations where you are probably non-ironically saying negative things about huge swaths of your audience or interaction fan base.
No, well, I take that back. Yes, it does create a positive change because it lets some people realize how much an asshole that person is.
Okay, I meant
which
for the
I can
company,
take as a positive change.
It's true. I should have specified for the company. Has anybody's sales or projections or user numbers ever gone up? And
no.
Okay, you can say something for oh, well, if I think those people in the audience are assholes and I cut them out of my life, that's good. But at the same time, you're a business. That's not.
Yeah. Cause here's the thing. I was saying this about how FGO US and Japan, and for that matter, their social medias are kept very close to the chest.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually just announcements.
Yeah, how they work with fans is either interviews or controlled releases. Like, they do streams and shows and stuff in cooperation with the staff and stuff, which those can be very lively and very jokey, but they are in a controlled environment. Like, they will do a stream, they will invite people, they will pick the people who are there, and they will pick the subjects of the panels, right?
Yeah.
So, even if it is more freeform, it's still very controlled.
Yeah. Here we have someone who is a public figure who has some degree of internet fame. I said 18K followers. That's bigger than some towns.
I only have 128 followers. Oh wait, no, I have 94 followers. I'm following 128 people. Some people would say I don't use Twitter right, but I have almost 12K tweets, so I think I use it just fine.
I retweet a lot of boobs and butt. That's how I'm using it. Anyway, basically a public figure who is known to work at a company. Basically, anything that he says then reflects upon the company. This is something that a lot of businesses have ingrained in me, because Lucky has worked a lot of places over the year, and all of them say the same thing. Do not please mind your social media accounts. Do not reference things for the company in your social media accounts. Don't do events and stuff, because anything you say in reference to the company and how it's worked can be taken as an official statement. It can. It is basically it is down. It is recorded. You have said this. If people want to take that to court, they could use it.
Mm-hmm. And the company doesn't want to have to be in the middle of that, because they have to either cut you and basically either fire you or say explicitly this is not our views, which causes problems for them. Mm-hmm. Because once again we talked about this in Discord. When you're dealing with sticky situations you can't change, the proper move is to not engage, because engaging creates more feedback. It creates more hostility with people. More people try to push you to get a reaction just for funds. That's something I think the internet's lost a little bit of, is the understanding of trolling. Yeah. The understanding that some people are just there to provoke an argument. People are too keen to have their arguments these days. They stop to think about, is this other guy on the internet just josh me because he thinks it's funny if I go on a 5-page rant?
Yeah. As I said, David Klein and Reddit and Twitter have been going back and forth at it. Like at one point, David Klein tells someone to, I thought it was kind of funny, fuck off and sea lion somewhere else. I don't know what sea lioning is, but
yeah, I don't know. There's
apparently,
we are making a radio show on the internet for our internet consumers. We have a patron who patronages us money every month listening to this recording live right now. I still don't understand a lot of fucking terms on the internet that are just in circles, and I'm like, I don't need to know this.
Like, what is this? I actually, like, I'm gonna try like sea lion meme or something.
Just look it up on Urban Dictionary.
Like, sea lioning. Oh, let's see here. Sea lioning. Know your meme. Oh, okay. Here it is. Sea lioning is an internet slang term referring to an intrusive attempt at engaging an unwilling debate opponent by feigning civility and incessantly requesting evidence to back up their claims.
So trying to get factual evidence? God, this is something I hate about internet culture. Everything's like, you're doing a thing, fuck you. You need substantial evidence to back up your claims. Whatever.
Oh, it's based on a comic. I'll link you the comic here.
Whatever. Once again, head and hands.
I'll put it in my Patreon here, so and the Patreon chat. There you go.
Anyway, so also I want to say, well, during this brief lull, super ironic that they have just had this big story about specifically a toxic work environment. Yes, a sexist or misogynistic one, but like I said, even straight men in this workplace were like, this is uncomfortable. These guys are talking about like sex and stuff a lot, and it's weirding me out, right? It's not even necessarily about like women. Like apparently there were like obscene gestures and stuff. Like it sounded almost very fratish.
Yeah.
Like how, guess what? If you get a bunch of straight dudes in a certain charged situation, they will, because men are unfortunately wired on some level a lot for sex. We're sorry. Yeah. It's just part of the natural hormone balance and stuff.
You know what the testosterone does? It makes you aggressive and horny. All right.
Yeah.
Guess what we produce a fuck ton of?
Yeah.
Testosterone.
Listen, this is something I say as a dude. Like, there's a lot of things that that dudes do that they don't necessarily mean anything deeper about, but that's just what your weird brain body chemicals are telling you to do.
Like as I said, like I tell people, like I can't remember the fucking term of it, but I mentioned it last term where don't equate evil to ignorance. I don't think a lot of men are necessarily like completely aware that they contribute to a toxic environment.
And there are efforts to be made to realize, hey, do you realize that that's not fucking cool anymore, or never was cool? But
a lot of guys would be just like, well, I can't say a lot of guys because I don't actually know, but most of the guys I know were like, oh yeah, sorry, my bad, I didn't know.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, like they've had this supposedly toxic, possibly hostile environment that people are like, I'm not feel comfortable working here.
Yeah.
What do they, when they're trying to address their concern, what do they immediately do? They get toxic and fucking hostile to their audience with broad sweeping statements, which, like we said, there is reports on this situation that say that female users are going, hey, I'm not sure this idea, I'm not 100% with this idea of closing certain panels to men, right? Like I said, I understand the concept of what they're going for, and we can see both sides. Like, I can see what they're trying to do. Yeah. I just feel like the way they've handled it has, once again, the execution has clouded the actual merits of the idea to be like, well, we're specifically trying to promote a healthy workplace for women with our company because of this problem we just had, right? So, like, because apparently these are like industry panels to be like, how do you break into this industry? How do you even like work with us specifically? So, I totally understand if they're like, oh yeah, no, like we're trying to put an emphasis on hiring back women and non-binary people and stuff like that in our industry. Their reaction to what people have said about that is like, that's not how you should handle this situation.
As I said, like there's other people who had more level-headed, but still, it's like this is what people are gonna remember because people focusing on negatives.
Yeah, it's a negative interaction. People are gonna. It's a fucking story that reached us, despite the fact that I don't give a fuck about Riot or League of Legends. I don't play that game. I actually don't play MOBAs. That's the one. MOBAs and Battle Royales skipped me entirely. No idea why people play those. Don't get it at all.
I play them like when like people like when I have friends who play them. Like if you have a game that you're into and you want me to play it, I will play with you because you are my friend. But am I actually particularly interested in it? No. Like I said, Omega's probably gonna be picking up a Destiny 2 here for PlayStation Plus here soon. I'm gonna be like, well, better blow off my copy. Because he's gonna need a friend.
Mm-hmm. We'll hang out and we'll do stuff. I'll port my character over because Destiny's still saved on my machine. But but I heard about this because Lucky heard about it, I'm sure, and it formed the whole change thing.
I actually had to pre-warn him. It's like, I want to talk about this because this is fucking kind of going on, but I don't know if we want to actually open up this potential can of worms.
And I said, hey, listen, we can mention it because we talked. Oh, let's see. We talked for I think 30 minutes before we even got to it, and
yeah,
like I said, we don't want to put our foot in the actual underlying identity politics because that's a deep socio-political discussion that I don't think either of us have prepped for, and it's like we are not here for that fight. We're just here to say
no,
because we have talked openly on Let's Talk FGO about how you handle community interaction, and
yeah,
okay. Our community's not huge. We're at only 900 subs. Getting close to 1,000, guys.
Whoop.
But we have a fan base. We have a community. We have social media outlets. We have fucking fan funding. Like we said, there are people in our community who support us with money directly. So I feel like we can express some thoughts on community interaction. I would not want to call broad sections of our fan base man babies.
No.
First of all, it would be incorrect because I know we have quite a few vocal female community members. But also, I think sometimes certain sections of the fan base are being dumb or frustrating with us, or there are a couple times I've been like, there are people leaving these comments. Are they even paying attention to the actual stuff we're doing? The answer is probably no, because people apparently like to watch our content or listen to our content while they multitask. But there are times when I feel to myself, we do the whole head desk, head and hands, all that shit, shake my head, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Oh no, there's several times I go up to the mod channel and I just type I am beating my head.
Yeah, no, Yes, guys, talking about internet anonymity, we have a secret mod channel for mod things. One of the things we do in there is we need a place to, because we are humans, we need a place to vent our emotions about shit going on, which in that moment would not be good to express to people because we don't necessarily want to hurt anybody's feelings or anything.
No.
We don't want to alienate anybody. If you're out there calling people man babies or telling people to stop fucking sea lioning as a corporate person, you're seeking to alienate some people, and what the fuck?
All right, so our girl patron Axerman just he hears us and he just says, "I'm sorry if I'm one of those people who cause any of those moments of frustration." It's here's the thing, frustration is just gonna happen, just from conversation. If it's something that we think is actually a problem, something that we think we need to step in and say something, we will step in and say something.
Oh yeah,
no. Remember,
and,
how
our mods will we are moderating our community, and we know to be whoa, okay, spoilers or discussions that are off topic or stuff, or we cut them, or whoa, no, let's get this back on track, let's get this under control. The frustration and stuff is just, like I said, we're humans, and sometimes, your emotional stuff gets all bundled up inside.
Oh no, trust me, Axer, I am super used to him just cutting me off.
No, I think he's talking, I guess the freezing.
But also, as I said, the mic cuts off a lot here, so sometimes we just don't know.
Sometimes or just internet lag. I will literally start talking, and Lucky will start talking half a second before me, and I'm like, did Lucky actually start talking, or did the break thing? But yeah, like I just said, the natural part of the human nature is to sometimes your emotions and stuff get tangled up, and you need an outlet. Outlets are healthy.
Yeah. So as I was saying, Axor, remember, it was in Art Dump or one of the other channels, how you were, we were discussing artists, and you were and I had to tell you, hey man, you got to let people enjoy things, even if you don't, enjoy them yourself. We had that whole discussion. I was there are times when I'm just gonna be I have to be people. stop. Whoa. It's like we're all here together.
That was
As
a
it, so,
moderation thing.
Yeah. So like you don't have to worry. Like if anyone is doing is we consider an actual problem, we will take steps to do it. Otherwise, we have to live and let live because everyone has an opinion, everyone has their own views, and I don't personally think it's right. I don't think it's right to try to silence people, like to silence someone's opinion. But I do think that like efforts should be made to moderate opinion.
And also, the opinion thing goes back the other way, because if other people's opinion is that other people's opinions are wrong, then that kind of builds a whole circular thing. Like, well, your opinion is not letting other people at least express their opinion. So like, let's balance it out and let everybody feel like at least they can speak their piece.
Yeah. And like, like, it's like I see you like this thing. This ain't particularly my thing, but you enjoy your thing. I'm gonna go enjoy my thing. That's like that's kind of view I try to put on things, and that's how I try to apply to like our community as a whole.
Yeah,
it's
like that.
I'm not gonna like I don't say negative things about. Well, I can't say about anything. I do say some negative things because there are some things I get super salty on. Like that's another discussion topic for another day. But like 95% of the time, I don't say negative things about about most things because I know somewhere someone does like it. Someone wants to feel good about liking it. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to try and take that away from him by my saying like, well, I think it's shit.
Yeah, I feel that way. Like, no, it's not. Our discussions.
It's like no. I might not. I'm trying. Like I said, I might not like it, but do you know what? It's completely okay that you like it. Please enjoy it. Do you know what it means? You know what it means that I don't like it. That's just more for you. Okay. That's what I try to put forth. You can't see it, but I am gesticulating wildly.
I can sense it. I can sense it. I'm trying not to gesticulate wildly because there's a fucking microphone in front of my face, and I don't want, Bong 3 The Revenge.
Oh, you actually did see that.
Yes, believe it or not, I at least skim, because often I don't have the time to watch the whole hour and a half thing or whatever, but I at least skim between the segments, and I keep an eye out for shit Editor Lucky is saying. But yeah, no, like, that's honestly how I feel. Like, like I said, as a person, I don't like to make waves in a certain sense. I don't like to necessarily bring up stuff to people and, like, insinuate that it bothers me because I don't want to cause people to have to deal with, like, my emotions and opinions are kind of my own deal, right? I don't necessarily want to throw them out there for other people and to have other people feel like they need to be concerned with how I feel. If it's something that's actually, like, going to impair or bother me in some way, I'll let you know. But if it's just, like I said, it's just my opinion about stuff, I'll keep it to myself. I felt that way about, we've discussed certain not safe for work subjects, and I'm just like, listen, if you find that interesting or sexy or whatever, that's fine. That's not my cup of tea. I'm just not going to bother talking about it because I don't feel like the need to have this big discussion about the merits of it. It's just like, that's not what I'm into. And with FGO especially, also, we've had that talk a lot between, like, servants and stuff, both in terms of, like, mechanical design and just characterization and design, and there's lots of people that go around. I've joked that at times I want to shadow ban the word hate because people throw it out a lot. If we had the discussion on the way people use hate versus what hatred actually is.
No, but I don't know, like,
because
I don't know, like, we might be able to.
I want to say briefly that if you actually honestly hate something, that's a serious thing. Like, hatred is a very strong internal feeling that you should understand if you are feeling, but just linguistic elements, people do not always characterize, oh, I hate this. You don't actually hate it. Like, there's no, if I reach deep down into your metaphorical chest, there's no icy hot hatred inside you. You're just like, I on a general principle, I don't like this thing.
Like, real talk, like, I can say like 100% with certainty. I guess I'll say the name. I hate Doki Doki Literature Club. I genuinely hate it. I hate it to the point that after I played it and got like the final ending, I could not sleep for almost a week because my thoughts would not stop on how infuriated I was by this game. That's what hate does to you.
Yes,
hate
it
keeps
pissed
you,
you off for a long time. You were upset about it for an extended period, and you were like, I do not enjoy this experience, and I feel violently emotional about it. That's hatred, guys.
That's hatred.
If you do actually hate something, that's once again, that's an opinion thing, but like I said,
I'm not gonna, unfortunately, actually, I'm not gonna get into why I hate it.
That's a discussion for another
time.
Believe
it or not, it's a discussion for another time, and Doki Doki Literature Club is a lot of things to a lot of different people. And again, it's like I can throw down on it, but I'm gonna choose not to because I don't want to validate other people's experience with that game.
Right, and that ties back to a point I wanted to make earlier because I thought we talked about how people feel about certain servants. Some people say negative things about servants and whatever, or other people express positive opinions of characters, and I'm like, listen, if you can find enjoyment in this character, that's on you. That's okay, sure, whatever. You do you. And I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm not... Yeah. And, I've thought about bringing up that subject because at times that feels like it's an interesting discussion to have, but at the same time, I don't want to feel like I'm picking on anybody for their opinions, right? Because I'm sure people would pick on me for my opinions, and I just don't need that harshness in my life. Miss me with that shit. That's it. I don't have anything more in the discussion.
Yeah, so, as I said, it's hate... Is that again? Hate is a word that's tossed around a little bit too lightly. Most people will feel is they just feel a general dislike of things. It's honestly, my hate of Doki Doki Literature Club has got me I have thought super hard on what I would do to fix it. What I would do if I ever make a game, if I ever put that in a game, I'm gonna make a better fucking Doki Doki Literature Club. That is my goal. That will be my first fucking game because I will show everyone that game. I personally why that game was bad, and I'll prove it with a better fucking game.
What do you think the budget for a Doki Doki Literature Panic is? We can set this Patreon goal right the fuck now.
No.
Give us $1,000 a month. Lucky will make better Doki Doki.
Oh my god. So
I tightened my microphone and it made a loud sound. Someday I'll learn that the mic arm transmits into the microphone for some reason.
Yeah.
Sorry, my microphone's being a little floppy.
It's as I said, so yes, unless you have some sort of plan for revenge. I'm sorry. Now oh god, if this was an idiot video, if I was editing this video, I would immediately put such a thirst for revenge.
Woo! Of course you would. But, one of the things I thought about, maybe we could talk about, maybe we should save it for Let's Talk FGO, is just I want to sometimes do general stuff about the channel, because we've done that before on the show. Our posting schedule's been a little weird lately. We're recording this earlier than we normally do to try and fix some of that to do higher energy and stuff and work out some things, and there's a whole technical and environmental stuff going on. We are working on it, but at the same time, like we said, I said this before. It be how it be, and just honestly, some of the schedule weirdness hasn't hurt a lot of our views or anything or our engagement. People still enjoy the content and stuff, and we just want to tell you we're still here. We're still trying. Sometimes our scheduling might get a little goofed up because we're sleeping weird hours or it thunderstormed all afternoon. I'm like, fuck, I'm not gonna record for 45 minutes to have it get trashed or something. Because the power went out and because you guys don't pay me enough to afford an ups. I hope that doesn't come off as too recriminating to the audience, but it's true. It's literally true. You guys literally don't pay me enough to buy an ups right now. Or at least not a good one.
And Axor, no, that's how much I hate Doki Doki Literature Club. I have to make a completely new one. Not a presentation that people are going to pass off. No, I need to make a game. I need to basically take oh my god, see, this is how fucking this is how much emotional I get over this. That's how much. But I'm gonna put on my editor lucky hat here for a second. So our last Let's Talk FGO, like I said, was delayed a little bit more than usual because I was working on
Well, yeah, it's actually, I should say
was
this, because I don't want to make it sound like this was your idea. I literally told you, I feel like we could use a little more backlog. Go ahead and edit that episode of Dead Space, and it delayed us a little.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I don't necessarily say I regret the decision. At the same time, like, if I could do it over again, I would be like, I would have just sucked it up and recorded, like, an extra episode of Extella to put up in the week and been like, no, Lucky, you save Dead Space for later in the week and work on the main show.
Yeah, so it literally put us down back one day, and whatnot. And I've kind of figured out that the reason why it's taking me like 3 days to edit is not because it takes long, because I actually timed it out. It only takes me about 6 hours to do the whole video. It's just the fact that I have to keep staggering out those hours throughout the day because I'm sorry, it's my weekend. I want to do stuff for me. I want to watch anime. I want to play games. I have errands to run.
Well, and also, yeah, me time is very important. But also, I want to say that, like, if people are like, "Oh, look, you should," well, first of all, once again, you don't pay us full time. We're working towards that, but you don't, audience. We're sorry. That is kind of the expectation of our capitalist society. And the second is, like, What's Up wouldn't exist if we didn't do stuff. Like, guess what? We're not going to talk about the anime this week because I haven't caught up on hardly anything. I mean, I watched My Hero Academia. That last episode was really fucking good with that dynamic, but that's what I got. That's what I got right now. I don't got a lot of stuff going on. I haven't had a chance to catch up. I am super in work mode for Mages of War. I have once again made things even more complex for myself, adding more stuff. It's all for me, though. It's all back at... Well, no, it's not, because I've designed 5 more mostly NPC-only magic talent trees because I'm a fucking madman.
Oh my god.
And lots of other stuff. But, like, that's just how it is. That creative bug has bit me, and I think I gotta work through that before I can focus on other stuff. But without taking that time to either consume media or do other creative projects, this show wouldn't exist because we wouldn't have anything to fucking talk about.
No. Like, I do want to talk about, like, Planet With at some point. I'm going to try and sell Omega on it, especially when we're talking about concepts of hatred and justice and all that stuff. But, like, as I said, like, I work a full-time job. So I work 40, like, I put this in air quotes, 40 hours a week. That translates to more like, let's see here, like 65 hours out of my day is gone. Cause, you know, I have to, like, drive, get dressed, run all that stuff. That usually adds, like, another hour on top of, like, whatever. So that's, like, let's see, I clock in 8 midnight, leave at 8:30. So, like, 9.5 hours out of my day, like, just gone. I need to put, like, at least 7 of that towards sleeping. And guess what? And there's going to be a whole bunch of faffing about of, like, me just trying to live my daily life. So I'm usually only going to have, like, maybe 6 hours of time, like, per, like, through my work week to do stuff. If I put, like, and as I said, like, I can't, like, when I get home, I just can't go from column A of work to column B of work. I have to de-stress. I have to switch tracks. I have to relax. I have to shower. You know, I have to do all this stuff. Like, maybe I need to go run some errands. It's like,
yeah, I've been adults, we have stuff to do in our lives.
I've been living, like, a really hectic life. I've, like, had almost, like, zero time. Like, I'm super, like, I keep up on my Crunchyroll anime because guess what? That's, like, on my PS4 and I can watch that while laying in bed and, like, you know, like, slowing down for the day, you know, like 2 or 3 episodes a day. Yeah, that's fine. It's easy. No problem. But I haven't been able to watch, like, anything on my computer for all my witchcraft purposes. Because, like I said, if I'm on my computer, guess what? I'm generally working because, like last week, I've been working on building assets for Let's Talk FGO. Like, a lot of people have actually been giving them, I won't say a lot of people, but a few people have been giving it praise. Like, the loading and connecting screens. I made those by, like, literally taking screenshots, like, as many fucking times as possible of foe running, and then pasting them, and then editing them slightly so that they all lined up together. Then taking that over to Vegas and rendering that over into, like, a nice smooth transition. I've been fighting with the summoning circle thing. I was trying to see if I can get a perfect loop. I can't. Apparently that screen is super fucking complicated. It's like I don't know if the actually perfect loop of it exists, because I think, like, all this, because the summoning screen has, like, a whole bunch of circles in it and they all turn at different fucking times. So like it's literally like it's like the fucking solar system. Like
So if
when the
you've ever
stars
wondered
fucking
why
align.
FGO sometimes runs like shit, it's because, as Lucky has discovered, apparently it's super complex for no fucking reason.
Yeah. As I said, like doing screenshots. I'm playing like 3 gacha games, and guess what? Like they're all kind of relevant because we now talk about them at length, and all walks. Recently I just like I said, we're gonna get into like a bit more personal history, but recently I just had my my ancestry done, my DNA like analyzed, and for like I said, here's a hot tip. Well, I'm gonna say a hot tip, but here's a hot fact about Lucky. Lucky doesn't know his biological father and just found out about him in the last week. So guess who's been dealing with that shit? Oh.
Yeah, I wasn't obviously. I as a person would not want to specifically out you because that's not my thing to say. But I would have said our recording was also delayed by like a day because you had what we would call in this business a family emergency, basically. Like you had some shit going on in your life that you had to deal with. And I have always told everybody in my social circles, I have told the community, real life comes first. And obviously, let's not diminish this. This is real life for us too. But at the same time, it's also not like, right, like this isn't like doing stuff for the channel is some stuff we want to do to go forward. It's how we want to live our lives, or at least that's how I would have lived my life doing this. I'm sure Lucky would agree because you have a fucking overnight working class job.
Like, and like this is one of the reasons. Oh,
but
this is one of the reasons why we're recording a little bit earlier is so I can go to bed at my normal time. And I'll just wake up when I would normally wake up for work, and then I'll be able to work just like power out whatever I need to do is. So like tomorrow when we record Let's Talk FGO, I'm basically once we get done, I'm gonna go to bed. Omega's gonna get me the audio. I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna start editing it,
and also
try
it's
and get
good
it all
for me
done
because sleep and me have always had an interesting relationship. I am at a bad point in my sleep schedule. Like I'm tired a lot, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily going to bed earlier. Taking melatonin and stuff doesn't always help me. If I probably lived in a more urbanized place, I'd probably go see somebody about like sleep specialist or something. See if I've got some kind of diagnosable problem, or just I'm a latent psychopath about to crack or something. But like recording earlier for me is fine because so long as I have enough time to get like meals in, so I don't get like super hungry in the middle of the episode. Which some episodes of What's Up have been that, and I've been like, God, I hope the microphone can't hear my stomach growl, literally.
Yeah.
But so earlier in the day is fine for me, other than the fact that it's summer right now, so I have to worry about the fucking heavens opening up. Earlier, I am an alive, awake person who functions. Later, that's real questionable, because once again, I'm 3 hours ahead of Lucky. I'm in the future, so, like, we did this a lot when I played tabletop games with some people on the West Coast. We would do games at, like, 9 o'clock for them, so, like, midnight for me. And I used to be able to sustain that, but that's just not necessarily how I'm living my life right now, and I want to have enough time to be, like, because as always, God, even if we do literally nothing to video or audio recordings, so much time is sucked up by like video rendering and uploading.
Oh my
so
God.
Much time. Like I do not edit Xdella at all. Those are raw recordings but they go for 45 to like an hour. And then they have to process, and then they have to upload. And God forbid I did feel the need to edit anything out, that would be even more work. It's the same with audio. Like if we had some comments about dead air, which dead air is always something I've been paranoid because that's always something I've heard is bad. But at the same time, we're having problems with some of our filters. So you might hear a little bit more dead air as we work on this. And if you're like, why don't you just manually go in and edit the because it's a fucking 2-hour long recording. It already takes enough time to do filters and stuff to process the audio, save it, export it, upload it, put it in a video format for a video format, which is what most people comment on because audio is currently only available to patrons. So, like, you want me to spend even more time listening back to the audio specifically to look for things to cut out? Are you mental? I have done direct audio editing before. It fucking sucks. It sucks for 15-minute videos. Can you believe doing it for hours on end? It's one of the things I used to do it more. I don't hardly do it anymore. One of the things I did for a while off and on was audio transcription. It just didn't pay a lot for the amount of assetry it was. Because to work on a piece of audio for like a 5-minute piece of audio, that's like 45, 50 minutes. You want to work on an hour long? I mean, God, how long was Voice kicking his own ass doing that? It was weeks, right? Voice of St. Courts? Mm-hmm. He recorded it for us with like 3 hours. He not only had to put visuals in, but he had to literally edit the audio because that's what he said he was going to do. He was kicking his own ass for weeks working on that video. A lot of it was just the audio, right? Like, it is such a pain in the ass, and so many people don't understand, because to them, it comes out and it's just like, oh, it was just appeared in my YouTube feed. No. It is not fucking magically appearing. There is work done into that, and you can call me a little lazy for, like, trying to minimize the amount of work I have to do to it, but that's because we're trying to do this most efficiently to get you content in a regular schedule, and if we can't, then you sometimes get gap days, or you get delays. And just suck it up, guys, because we're trying to get more content to you, because we like to do content, but it is a process.
Okay, I'll make it stop talking. So!
Go for it.
So what I was gonna say is, like, for me personally, like, what I've been doing, like, now that, like, I have to edit the whole thing, which means I basically do have to listen to the whole damn thing, is I've been manually cutting down dead silences, the big silences, so that they sound more natural. You see, like, right there, you know, just like that second pause, like, you know, people are more used to that. So, like, and whenever we have like you know, like 3 or 4 seconds of dead air, I just usually shorten it to a second so that the conversation sounds normal. Because, like, here's the thing about, like, truncating silence. If, like, you all of a sudden go, like, talk about one conversation, suddenly you're talking about another conversation, it sounds fucking weird.
Right, because what's happening there is that the truncate silence tool is set to a certain, like, sound level, and sometimes our audio is not balanced correctly. It's just how it is, and so if somebody speaks really quiet or something, or just their audio level doesn't level out, the truncate silence will be like, oh, you've told me this is silence, I'm going to cut it out.
Yeah. Like, there was, like I had to bring this up to Omega because, like, a lot of times people were talking about audio problems. And I was like, I couldn't figure out why. But once I actually started fully editing the videos and I could hear all the cut off sentences, I'm like, this is what they're fucking talking about. And I had to bring it up to Omega.
And I'm like, I'll work on it.
That's when we started doing this.
Well, because also I literally listened to the latest episode you mentioned, and I'm like, you're right. This has gotten to a point where this is a fucking problem. I will figure out how to jiggle this, and we will try and optimize it.
Yeah. And as I said, like, I find it hilarious that, like, 2 episodes in, someone was already complaining about dead silence. I'm all like, have you heard the other episodes? It's like, this is, like, I consider like what we've been doing, like, a vast improvement. As I said, we haven't reached our apex yet. I still have more ideas. Like, this is the problem with the problem with being a creator is you are never satisfied with what you have.
No.
Like, you have to go next time, every time I'm going to do something better. Mm-hmm. It's like, as I said, that's why I've added in, like, I'm looking in for more background assets. I'm looking into,
like, and because I handle the audio, like, that's how I am with, I'm constantly being like, our audio's a little scratchy there. Is there something I can do? Is there something I can not do that'll kind of make that better? So the latest episode, the audio sounded really good, so I think I'm going to keep, I think I found a for the moment, a relative sweet spot of, like, audio adjustment versus trying not to filter out a whole lot of stuff so we sound alien. Yeah. We've only got a little bit of background noise, which I'm going to cut out. I'm going to suppress it, so hopefully we don't sound too scratchy. Sometimes I do click removal, because that cuts out stuff like if I smack my lips a little loud and stuff, or if I, like, sip from a bottle. But I also think that sometimes goofs with our audio a little, so I'm not doing that a lot anymore. Instead, I just hunt for very obvious, like, oh, here's very obviously, like, a weird mouth sound or a mic sound that's in the middle of what would normally be a silence, so guess what? Truncate silence isn't sensitive enough to cut that out anymore.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I, like, because I look at the raw audio waveform in Audacity, I know what it looks like when I take or exhale a breath and the mic catches it. I just did one right now, a second, in between words. So sometimes I'll see those and they'll be like, we don't really need, like, an audible breath from me at this point. I'm just gonna mute that space aside, that sound wave, just squish it. But I can't do that for literally every second of the audio because, like I said, we're at already an hour and 20 minutes. There's there's
Oh,
no
have they been
way
talking?
we can reasonably proc all this audio, at least as we are now.
Let's see here. That's the thing. I guess so. I said, but with oh yeah, rewinding it back. So hopefully, with the new way that we're doing recording, I'll be able to sleep. I'll be able to focus and get it out in 1 to 2 days. Like I don't want to promise one night because unfortunately, Lucky
that's a
does.
lot of work to do in 24 hours. Like we
Like
weren't.
as like
Even with
like,
me
I would have to
doing
sit down.
zero visual editing, we still had times where it was like just processing and uploading took longer than it would to get it out a quote unquote day later, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so like I could probably like as I said, I'm trying like I don't want to promise like 1 day because as I said, editing, like me like edit like actually editing, not like rendering and uploading, like editing, just the editing, copy, paste, click, add images, videos, all that stuff, that takes me about 6 to 8 hours. Rendering can take anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. Uploading anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours. So we're looking at like around 12 hours round trip. So like even if I got up at 11, up at 11, it might be done barely by like 11 in the morning. And Omega usually like I have the ability to post videos, but I usually let Omega handle that because he handles a lot of stuff with the patron and stuff. I like just keep my hands off that because I'm like I don't think of things. It's like I got enough hats as it is. All right. This editor's hat is real fucking big, all right?
Yeah. And by the way, if you are a patron or you're interested in our Patreon, that's me. I do most of the running there. I'm pretty sure at some point Lucky got the passwords and stuff, but I don't know if he remembers or cares. So it's me. I check our quote unquote business email for notifications from them. When I post, I'm the one who posts the links and stuff on Patreon. I check out our patrons to make sure that everybody is paying on time, and that when they pay, they make sure to get their rewards and stuff. By the way, if you are a Patreon and like you see a credit asset and your name isn't in it, that's not me. That's Lucky. It's Lucky's fault because he did not necessarily double check to make sure that the asset was in. But we've also stepped away a little bit from that because for some of our video types, it's like it can be a pain in the butt to tack on an extra image in our workflow for like some like for phone captures and stuff. We've never done that because that's like that goes from my phone straight to YouTube basically. So that's like where the fuck would I even put in an extra image? We still do like and appreciate our patrons, and we try to stick in credits where we can, but it's not a universal thing. No, my phone's buzzing.
I said like once I think I'm gonna be trying to up my Let's Play game here soon, and I might start doing a little bit more editing there, especially if I finally get the damn capture card I want. But like for right now, it's just like I am not.
You have a decent video editing software also, which I'm pretty sure you could just you like dump your raw capture, export to file, and work on.
Yeah.
I could probably do that, but that would add even more cycles to my work because then I would have to proc out of my capture card, and then I would have to re-render and just God.
It's like there's a lot of hoops we are jumping through, a lot. It's like as like I said, I'm getting I'm getting like very familiar with Vegas. Like I'm super glad I found it on Humble Bundle.
Yeah, you're getting clever with some of your functions and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I find it really funny. I was thinking about talking about this in Let's Talk FGO, but since we're organically talking about it, I'll mention it here. I find it funny that a lot of times you're like, Editor Lucky is like sassing me for giving him more work, but at the same time, you also give yourself more work because you're like trying out different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that dynamic comes across to the audience.
As I said, I'm trying to Editor Lucky is like definitely the persona of my salty, sassy persona I'm trying to put forth in Let's Talk FGO, and that's like every episode I'm putting in more and more because I'm getting more used. Like I'm finding shortcuts and whatnot. Like people might not have realized this, but last Let's Talk FGO, I figured out how to fade in and out the background music. Like so, basically, if you listen, like right before you hit the loading screen, the music will fade out, and then when the screen comes back, the music will fade back in. And like nifty little things like that. Like I said, I figured out how to do the mosaic function. Oh my god!
I'm so glad you did because that with both your commentary and with people's reactions, that was as comedic as I wanted. That played pretty well with the audience.
Yeah. As I figured out, physics. As I said, oh, like, I don't know, like, how many people actually saw the end, but like at the end of Let's Talk FGO, I told, I said, you know, Editor Lucky, play that one thing. And what people don't realize is that scene with Ilya saying her line, that was recorded from my phone. I was testing out that function, and then I tested out another function to see if I could superimpose another image on it and just fade it in, so it was slightly translucent behind it. That was me testing another thing. So, and like,
we should point out, when you recorded that, when you said that line on the audio, you had no idea what the fuck you were doing. Like, you had no idea what thing Editor Lucky would do at the end there.
No, because I literally left it up to Editor Lucky.
I love how we talk about Editor Lucky like he's a separate person. He's a separate character.
He is, because that's Lucky's when he's actually having to sit down, hunched over his keyboard, staring at his screen. He's a cranky fucking fella.
Yeah, no, like I said, I used to do way more audio editing for our products, and I was just like, do I even fucking need to bother? Just, you know, truncate the silences, which works. That works a lot better for like when I do like videos for like news videos, or like when I do smaller productions on like Star Wars stuff, tabletop stuff. God, it would really be nice if FFG announced some fucking news I could make a video on just for spare videos. But that's why we diversify, because if you stick to one subject and there's nothing going on with that subject, you don't have any fucking content.
Sometimes I feel like we're a little too diversified, but that's just me.
Sometimes it does feel like that, but at the same time, it's like, but also, I mean, we're trying different things at least, so it works.
Yeah. And I said, I'm hoping like the further we go, like I said, we're hoping, because like you do news videos on, we do Star Wars, we do Suck FGO. And
honestly, also the Star Wars videos are short enough. They're like 10 to 20 minutes. Those are they're fairly well produced. Those are fairly easy for me to do. So it's just like, that's what I started doing before we were technically StudiOmega. When it was just me, that was something I was doing as like how to learn some basic video stuff and how to work this channel thing. And then it was like, hey, Lucky, do you want to hang out and talk about FGO? And then a channel was born, basically. That was still the old channel, but I changed some stuff. But anyway, I do those still because I like them and because a decent amount of people watch them if they see them. Like I have gotten crazy high views on just some rando Star Wars news videos.
Damn it, my dad's trying to call me. Hang on, let me ignore him.
Well, I can talk about how I was just doing some rando hard mode drops and I got Houston.
Nice.
She's pretty cute. I love how American ships seem to have never heard of long pants.
I'm sorry, my favorite U.S. ship right now is still Hammond and this fucking Neko Lolly made like tsundere fucking combination.
Yeah, God! Weird shit.
My dad is like, apparently my dad really needs to talk to me. So I'm gonna need you to like take control of this for a moment here.
Do you want me to pause the recording, or do you want me to just vamp?
Just like, make it do something.
Okay, I'll vamp. Hi, audience. This is Omega. Well, Lucky deals with real life shit. As we've said, real life shit is always important. I just want to remind you that the realest shit is, now if this was an actual video edited production, Editor Lucky would put like a slot effect in here or something, but I don't subject Lucky to editing this audio. I just upload it with like a static background image because, God, whatever. Actually, here's the thing we talked about with Lucky, like putting like video gameplay behind this. I don't know if we have the infrastructure for that right now. Like, I don't know. He'd probably have to run that in like OBS and record it, and then we'd have to figure out how to get the audio or whatever. So it's like a whole complex thing. But if you're interested in that sort of thing, we could superimpose this audio over some gameplay or something. I don't know. But like I said, I would put some slots, and then the question would be, what's Omega going to talk about? Is it going to be girls? Is it going to be shilling? Or is it going to be something else? The answer is none of those things, and all of those things. The most important real-life thing you need to focus on is definitely giving me money, but besides that, just, hey, enjoy your lives. Just, do what you like to do. Think about stuff. Connect with your friends, your family. Maybe if you don't like your family, you don't have to connect with them. Hang out with them sometimes, though. Talk to them. because they're people too. Everybody's people. Since Lucky's not here to interrupt me, yes, I'm being ironic. God. I will once again reiterate that everybody's just people. And to have a real, genuine experience with people, just remember, everybody you meet's another human, unless they're a lizard person. And just relate to them on that level. You guys are both humans. You like human stuff. And hopefully you can find some level of relation. If you can't, whatever, the world's a big place. You know what's even bigger than the world? Space. You know what I love? Fucking space. Lucky, if you need me to shut up and let you back into this conversation, you're going to have to give me a signal, because I'm literally not going to stop talking until you come back. Because I don't have to stop talking. I never stop talking. I am exercising my improv skills right now. Some people have actually complimented on this, on my ability to just talk about random things while I do other stuff. That's perfectly fine. Where was I? Space? Yeah, space is fucking great. I love space. The moon's cool. There's no air there, but there's enough gravity that you don't fly away, and there's like a whole structure to it, which is really neat. Though the moon's not cold, as you would think, because heat actually radiates very poorly outside a vacuum, and without a protective atmosphere, it can get very hot with the solar rays, because the sun's super hot, guys. You know what else is hot? Venus. Venus is a cool place. Super hot, though. And then it has like a runaway greenhouse effect. It makes the atmosphere very dense and very hot and very caustic and toxic. So the surface of Venus is kind of out, unless you want to build like super specialized equipment. But you could probably float some shit in the atmosphere. That'd be cool. That's what Eclipse Phase does. That's a really neat idea, that you could like create a neutral buoyancy with a much heavier atmosphere. You could also do that with some gas giants, but a lot of them have chaotic elements and stuff. Like Jupiter and Saturn have very rough upper atmospheres that would be very hard to get into, and stuff like that. But you know what those planets have? Moons. Lots of diverse moons. Very interesting. Saturn has a lot of moons. Jupiter has a lot of moons. Very, very interesting what all these moons do. And I hope you've enjoyed me talking about space, because I fucking love space. I could talk about all kinds of things. Moons, planetoids, planets. Some very interesting types of planets that come up in fiction and both real life. I love planetology and stuff. It's one of the reasons why I like Eclipse Phase, is because of the gate crashing thing. You can experience a lot of different planet types, and you can come up with weird ideas like crystalline planets, tidally locked planets, lots of other fun stuff. Very fun to stretch your creative muscles, and I love more than anything stretching my creative muscles. I've just looked at our guild because I'm pulling up the number to type to somebody in our Discord, and Lucky has apparently hijacked the agenda to talk about Haman, and I am slightly incensed by this gross abuse of his powers, but I gave them to him, so I guess I should suck it up. Anyway, you know what also is important in life? Ship
Okay,
girls.
I'm back.
Okay, there we go. How long did I do
Ship
that
girls.
for? That was a while. That was at least a good solid 5 minutes of me rambling.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
No, it's fine. It's cool. I literally said, hey, real life is important. And then I was like, you know what's the realest in life? Shilling. No. I talk about space, actually, a lot. And then about ship girls. But now you're back, so
Yeah, so it's
you
basically
need to
like-
take over for a second, because I need to catch my breath.
Yeah, so basically, my dad talking about my whole ancestry thing. And he got the riot act, because when someone ignores your call like 4 or 5 times in a row, don't keep calling them, especially with an insignificant tidbit of information. Like, just texting is a thing. I use it. Most people have to use it.
Dear old people, texting exists.
Oh my god.
Well, we've talked about this
Anyway.
earlier, how much phones are, like, I don't know if specifically for you, but for me, phones are, it's weird. As a younger kid, I talked to my friends a lot on the phone, because I lived in the age of dial-up, so it was like, well, you can't always be on the internet at the same time, right? Like, you didn't have separate phone lines for stuff. So I talked on the phone a lot, but that was with people I knew well for extended periods, and just, I have a little bit of social anxiety. That's true. But just dealing with phones, and it's a lot like dealing with this internet chat where Lucky and I cut each other off and stuff sometimes, because it's just, that's how the communication is. But with just talking to people on the phone, it's not always like that, like that friendly relationship I have with Lucky, where it can be like, we can either just go with it, or we can get into a fight about it. But like,
Man,
Also,
we're too-
phone quality audio is usually shitty. Just, yeah. Also, yes, Axe, I would kill for Disney to not be assholes about the Star Wars license and give me Booster Blue Lane. I have parody names for all sorts of gacha games that involve Star Wars. Force Grand Order, Blaster's Frontline. In addition to Booster Blue Lane, you could also go Kantai Galactic. I don't know if there's enough diversity in space. I mean, I guess there's a lot of different space capsules, but that wouldn't be as interesting. Would you do like a 4X game with like spaceship girls, like exploring and stuff? I don't know. Kerbal Girl Program. I know there are girl Kerbals now, but like that could be funny. That's a game that I love. That sadly I don't have because I'm not a rocket scientist. I feel like I don't have the time to put in to get good at. Also, sometimes it's run like Garbo on my computers. Anyway, Lucky, you're back.
Yep. Sorry, like I said, I got a message back from my biological father's family side, so I'm like kind of staring at it, going, "Oh, what is life?" But I'm gonna twist it around too. So I'm gonna talk about anime and a segment that I'm gonna call "Let's Sell Omega on a New Anime," because it is definitely no secret that I watch a fuck ton more anime than Omega does.
And once in a while, not actually gonna sell me on the anime because I don't have fucking time in my life. Oh my god.
I don't know. I think I sold you on Goblin Slayer. That just hasn't come out yet.
Hopefully, I'll have less shit. I won't because I won't be caught up. But hopefully, I'd have less shit to watch in a new season.
Well, to be honest, I say like sell them on it, but it's like I don't think it's like this anime is necessarily a Mega's cup of tea, but it does present a very interesting premise. So, the anime name is Planet With. I know it's a really fucking weird title. I don't know why they call it that. Maybe there's some deep harm meaning. I'm not looking that hard. But it's kind of just, when you first look at it, it kind of just seems like a typical shonen mecha, like shonen boy gets in giant robot fights aliens kind of show. But they build it in such a way that it becomes layers upon even more layers, all centered around the ideas of personal justice and revenge. Like you know how we're talking about like how like nothing's black or white or something? Like that is something that can be very, very easily placed side by side with the concept of justice and then, you know, like seeking revenge. So I guess I'm just gonna give Omega spoilers here because Omega usually doesn't give a flying fuck about spoilers.
Listen, if a work can't stand on its own without spoilers, it's not usually great. Ooh, I accidentally got up on my microphone a little too loud there. Whatever, Normalize will catch that.
Yeah. So the story starts out with the main protagonist. He wakes up. He has amnesia. He's had it for a little while. But, you know, he's living a normal life. He really doesn't really fit in. But, you know, he's like, meh. They have this really funny joke where he really wants to eat meat, but for whatever reason, whatever he runs into a meal, it's never meat. It's always some sort of meat substitute or just vegetable dish. It's like, you know, it's a good gag. But, like, real quick, it's like, guess what? The Earth is being... Oh. Key point. Apparently he lives with a giant cat, you know, a cat that like walks around on 2 feet and goes, yeah. And apparently when he says that, like speaks a whole sentences, which is then translated by this maid looking character who also lives with them. And so Earth gets invaded by these really creepy, cute looking monsters that, you know, like shrug off, you know, conventional Earth weaponry like it's nothing. Then appear these 7 people who have like superpowers who go off to fight the creature, and they defeat it. And then, so, you know, they just save the Earth. And then you realize the boy remembers something, and he vows to fight and defeat all those heroes who just saved the Earth. And they don't explain it why. They show like a little bit more facts each episode. So you learn that the powers that those 7 heroes are using is the power of a dragon, of the dragon, which was an entity that destroyed the protagonist's home world. He's an alien. He's not originally from Earth. And so to like get revenge upon the dragon, he vows to take away all that power so that no one can use it, since no one should have it. All the while, these heroes are still using that power to save Earth from these from these giant aliens. Then you come to find out that the person who's in charge of these heroes has originally using this power because he wants to take over the world. Basically, with this power, he'll control everything and things will finally be right. Because, as you know, we've talked before, you know, when society starts breaking down into circles, conflict arises. You basically just make one society, you know, zero conflict. Well, supposedly, that's the theorem. And so the main protagonist is fighting through all guys, and then there's another layer that appears. It turns out that those giant aliens are part of a sealing faction of another race. And the sealing faction believes that races that are too aggressive or too warlike will only be a negative influence on the universe, so they seek to seal their evolution so they do not break out into the world and cause destruction. And it turns out that the main protagonist, the cat and the maid character, are with the pacifist faction of that same species, who then are advocating like, no, you must, instead of just sealing them off, you have to, you know, nurture them. You have to guide them the right way. So there's like some climactic battles. It turns out that the leader of the guy might have been like the reincarnation of the dragon, or had a share of the dragon's power, so it kind of brought it full circle. It turns out that if they use that power too long, they start turning into the dragon, and all of a sudden those heroes are now having concerns on whether using that power is actually right if you can't control it. So some of them give it up, some of it, you know, it's like back and forth. And then finally the kid reclaims all the dragon's power, and he's just like, he doesn't know what to do with his life. He has accomplished his revenge, you know, but he still doesn't have his home. He still doesn't have like all his friends, his family. They're still all gone. He enters just this major depressive state. And it turns out that what had happened is the reason why the dragon had attacked his people is because his people were an aggressive warlike species that was invading other planets for like whatever reason. And so the dragon viewed them as evil and destroyed them. As I said, it was like they hadn't even got to the point of the pacifists or the sealing factions hadn't even like got into this. So like as I said, like again, it's like just layers upon layers of layers. There's a reason, there's actions, there's reaction, there's reasons. It's a lot going on. Right now where they are in the series, as I said, the main character has just found his moxie, because it turns out that like all the heroes, they didn't need the dragon's power to use their powers. It was just more of a catalyst. And a couple of the humans, like the original heroes, seeing like what humans could do, what that power would do to them, decided to join the sealing faction. And when one of them fought and lost, she got sealed. And when she got sealed, the guy who's like really into her, like completely in love with her, decides to take revenge by sealing the world, and actually succeeds. For a little while, like Earth is sealed, like everything is just shades of fucking gray, and everyone, you know, just kind of goes into a peaceful slumber until the main character snaps him out of it, for reasons I'll leave reason. But as I said, like it's a like I'm not like honestly I'm not doing it justice. I really should have wrote notes on this instead of trying to do this from memory, because it's a lot of, I said, like, because the theme throughout this is, and let's take a
I'm trying
break
to like
there.
move my microphone. I'm like leaning back in my chair. I'm trying to point my microphone at me because I'm just sitting back and taking this in. So I'm probably sounding a little quieter than usual. But yeah, no, like it sounds very involved and intricate, which is very interesting.
Yeah, it's a very intricate story of personal justice and how it fights against others. Like on the first level, it's the main protagonist versus the 7 heroes who are using the power of the dragon. Then it goes up against the justice of the man who says he should rule the world because he thinks it's a better place. You have the ceiling versus the pacifists. You have the evil invaders versus the dragons. You have all these separate ones, and they all mash together. And you just like everything, like for every action, there's a reaction. For every reaction, there's another reaction. It just keeps going and going and going. And it's like I said, it's all in this shell of just a standard shonen anime. And this is one of the things I love about it. Because it was like when I first picked it up, I only watched a couple I watched like one episode. I'm all like, it didn't click with me. Like that's what it was about. But like a few seconds in, as you see people like struggle with their own inner demons, like have like their secret they bear, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, no, that sounds like that's a very solid way of storytelling. That sounds very interesting. But at the same time, I'm like, the story structure is interesting. I don't know if I actually.
Yeah, no, it's like. I said, like, for you, like, as I said, like, the characters and stuff, it's like, they're not really memorable. It's like standard show. It's like, it's an interesting thought and execution, but I don't like, most people would just see it as the standard shonen experience. They would not see it as this giant diagram of justice and revenge. It's like, it's.
And also a lot of classic sci-fi tropes, like the discussion between like the basically the Great Filter and lots of other, classical sci-fi problems.
Yeah, as I said, it's very hard. It's like very hard hitting once you understand that and you start seeing like all the pieces start connecting. Like, man, like I'm like, if you want it, like I said, like I don't think you like. It's not something you should like. Omega, you should just go pick up right away. It's like if you ever get caught up and you have like some free time.
If I have some time to like binge, maybe.
Yeah, maybe like because I think that's definitely it's like I said, I'm watching it week to week, so I let things like settle and stuff. But I said like if you know what you're walking into, you'll be able to like do it all a lot faster. Because like as we keep saying, like nothing is black or white. Everything is shades of gray, and like everything is like down to personal view. It's complicated,
Yeah. No, it was very interesting. I definitely was engrossed in what you were saying, like following it. Like I said, the structure sounds very good, and I think that's a very good approach to storytelling, especially for if a lot of the trappings are very generically anime and generically that shonen style. That's good because quite often we've raved about how good My Hero Academia or Boku no Hero is. That like it takes a much more hard hitting or deeper look at a lot of classical shonen tropes. Like, for instance, people don't get over shit right away. That actually came up in the most recent episode that's come out where, like, Totoro just thinking to himself, oh, I set that aside. And he's like,
no, I didn't.
But this one dude talking about it brings it right back. So clearly I haven't actually fixed that problem in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just very interesting and dynamic, the way it has looked at some stuff. So that's very interesting to, like, move.
Like, I bet I can find like an article on it like somewhere, because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only fucking one who's noticed this.
No,
there's
probably
people
not.
who probably like paid to write deep thought articles and shit.
God, can you imagine us being paid to give deep thoughts?
Anyways, I don't think I've gotten any Patreon money this month.
You have?
Have I?
Yes. I'm pretty sure the PayPal statement even says Patreon. I mean, the money went somewhere,
Hang
so...
on.
Pretty sure. Hold on, let me log into my PayPal here and double check. I'm pretty sure that went through.
Okay. Let me double check
Because I will have less money than the Patreon money for this month, yes. September 2nd.
I don't need to change my shit. Not now. Just let me log in. I want to see. Oh, there it is. When did it come in? Oh, September 2nd. Why didn't I get an email? This might be my Reflectum money. So, to switch gears again. So, last Let's Talk FGO, I definitely put an open call for someone to tell me about some goddamn mirroring software. And Voice, in a roundabout method, he's still a butt, though.
It's your boy, Voice.
He's a butt. Mentioned Reflector, which is what he used. So I've definitely pulled that up, and it looks like it's just a one-time payment of $14.99, and they have a free trial. So I might try that.
Sounds good.
Should I tell about why Voice is a butt, or why I think he's a butt?
Well, I have very, because I know you wanted to talk about Planet With, and then you were pretty fired up about, I think, like the Riot thing and some of the related subject to that.
Yeah.
So I didn't take a lot of notes this week. But that is one of them, is because that was going to come up, I think, in part of why we were kind of weirdly delayed, because we were expecting to do something last Sunday.
Yeah.
And I wondered if we wanted to get into this discussion. Hey, dear audience, because this is actually a thing in English that comes up. When somebody says, this Sunday versus next Sunday, what does that mean to you? Or rather, when somebody says next Tuesday, let's throw it out there, what does that mean to you, audience? Because we literally had that problem. That problem came up where a voice was like, whoa, no, you said next Sunday. This is clearly still this Sunday. Even though from context clues, I knew exactly what Lucky meant, because he talked about Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
So there was some scheduling confusion, and I was just like, all right, if we're not doing anything, I gotta go record Extella more. So I bounced, but yeah, no. There was some discussion. This is why I said that dates are better, because they are.
Yeah.
Because at the very least, whenever I get up and I look at my computer every day, I can see what day it is. I don't know what day of the week it might be. I usually have to check. I don't know if there's a holiday today, but I know what day it is. Or what date it is.
Yeah, real talk. Like, all I had on my notes for today was Planet With, a story of justice from other angles, and this Sunday versus next Sunday, and why Voice of St. Course is a butt sometimes. Those are my notes.
That's oddly enough, because my note is literally this/next on my note card. So that was the whole thing for us.
So like I said, I basically said, like, oh, since like today is since it's Labor Day weekend, why don't we record next Sunday? I didn't say this Sunday, because I don't say this Sunday, because in my personal vernacular, my personal lingua franca, this Sunday does not exist, because for me, the beginning of a week is Sunday and the end is Saturday. That's a week. Therefore, if you're on any day besides Sunday, it will always be, the near Sunday will always be next Sunday. Like, that's me personally. When Voice is someone who does use this Sunday to mean the immediate next Sunday.
I'm scrolling back to the discussion to say when you said that. So you said that on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Which I will say, I can understand the clarification for this and next.
Yeah.
Also, obviously, if you say this coming, blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
you mean whatever one comes up next. But
yeah.
I personally have the opinion that first of all, context clues are important, but it's when there's quite a long way days off, you should assume next is whenever the next one is, because that's what next means in English. It means the next occurrence of that thing. If it's Monday, what's the next Sunday? It's the Sunday that's coming up in 6 days or so, because that's the next one. If you want to specify, like, this blah, 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 you can. But at the same time, I feel like it gets a little descriptive. Some people are of the opinion that next is always, if it falls within this week at all, it's not the next one.
Yeah. So
I mean, I can get the argument, like, if that's
man,
just how you talk about it, but at the same time, it's like, that doesn't necessarily follow to me on an English-graphics point.
I said, but what mostly got me salty is how Voice like treated the situation. Like at one point he was just like straight up like, then don't be vague. I'm like, excuse me. It's like, this is a goddamn two-way. Well, I didn't say this to him because I said I don't want to fucking start arguing right like then and there, but it's a two-way street. If you don't want me to be vague, then you can take effort to make sure that you have clarified this, because if I'm going on an assumption and you're going on an assumption, guess what? We're both making asses out of you and me, all right?
Perfect. I was just about to bring up the classic.
Okay.
Oh, shoot. I forgot to say earlier what my dad always says, that opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
Yeah.
I worked
and
it
it's
in.
like, maybe I should have like actually specified a day, but you sure as shit could have clarified what date it was yourself.
And I mean, so, also I think, like, I don't always think that, because the Voice is another creative like us. He is also constantly wrestling with his own shenanigans, so I can understand why he did, like, he thought, oh, next, that means a long time from now, it's settled, it's done, and he didn't think about it anymore. That said, yes, it is a two-way street. You should consider thinking about stuff. And, double-checking thing. Like I said, from context clues, you say Labor Day weekend. Okay, next Sunday, what's the... this Sunday falls on Labor Day weekend. I'm pretty sure that's what people have told me. Like I said, holidays, shit like that, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I said, like, because...
Do I look like I have a fucking wall calendar?
Like, normally I don't want to record some days because I have to work that night.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If we're recording at, like, and we're up to, like, 5 or 6, guess what? That's cutting out of my sleep time, and I'm going to be going to fucking work, like, only half awake, and guess what? That's not good for my work productivity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still going to, and so, like, now I'm boned, and I kind of have to try to do it on a Sunday where I have to go on to work and have to Shanghai everyone into, like, getting early so I don't, like, fuck up my job.
Yeah. All this could be solved if you guys paid us more. Boom, shilling. I gotta get it all out of the way because I've already learned that I'm a Voice cut all of my shill jokes out anyway, so I'm not gonna bother next time. On his channel, I'll let him do the work for us on that regard.
Yeah. And I said, like, all we need is like 100 more subscribers, and we start getting money.
Super close. Well, we'll get more money because we get a little bit of money from Patreons.
We do get a little bit of money.
We're glad for your support. It's helped us get some stuff.
By the way, Omega, you should try have you tried the Reflector? I think it has like a free trial.
No, I probably should. I don't know. What's it? Well, I'm on Windows 7 Professional, so it probably works fine with my... If it's going to work for you, it's going to work for me, probably.
I don't know if it's going to work for me, but here, have a link.
Okay, link me. I'll check it out. Because that's always a concern I've had. Is shit going to work for me?
Yeah. It's like, I'm okay with this business model. Like, if this is like a one-time purchase and you just get it from there, it's like, bam, I'm okay with paying like $15. That's why I wasn't okay with paying like $12 for like the monthly thing. A Power Resoft? It's like, no. As I said, I like Voice. I really do. I think he's a funny guy, interesting. He's a bit too loud sometimes, and he's a butt at times. But you know, that's human.
Yeah,
it's good and bad.
I was gonna mention this earlier when we were talking about frustration and stuff. Like, you and I, despite the fact that we do this a lot, we do not have a quote unquote perfect relationship. We've had our ups and downs before.
No, we argue, but we never like. What's the word? Like me and Ron, we have gotten fucking into it. Like,
yeah.
Like there have been games ended over shit being flung between Ron and I.
Cause you won't fucking talk like adults. Yeah. See, that's another that was a Omega's done with both of you conversation. I'm gonna go be by myself now. Cause I'm tired. I remember of both of you.
I remember like once when you stepped in, and he was like, "Ron, you're being a fucking baby. Lucky, you're being a slightly." It's like, Ron, you're being a fucking big baby. Lucky, you're being a slightly smaller, but still fucking big baby.
It was a dumb argument because you guys, looking from the outside, obviously, I mean, like, you get into a heated discussion, you lose perspective, but from the outside, it was like, you guys aren't even fighting about the same fucking thing. You guys are having, like, you're having, like, an in-character versus out-of-character discussion without bridging either gap, basically.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's real dumb of you, and just like you were doing the whole, well, I'm done with this game. Well, no, fuck you, I'm done with this game. I'm like, no, I'm actually done with this game, and as the game master, that means I count the mostest. I'm gonna leave this conversation for a while.
Yeah.
Because honestly,
I'm
that's
better about that, and
if
probably not in small part by Ron doesn't fucking play games with us a lot anymore.
Yeah, that's we're talking about like frustration and stuff. That's my big response to me being pissed off. You can tell one of two ways. Yes, I will blow up. I will yell and stuff. Mostly that's almost like a kind of like a pain response. Like that's what happens if I like stub my toe. I usually go like, ow, fuck. And stuff like that. Like that's like if something's going on that is causing me some kind of pain or pressure, I will push back. If I am like just angry and I don't know what to do with it, I'm just like, this situation pisses me off. My response is, get this situation the fuck out of my face, because I don't want to be pissed off. Which I think generally says a lot about how my life is.
Yeah. Like
now as an adult. I will admit I've probably had not like serious, but I've had temper problems in before, and also Lucky's talked about this. He likes to joke that I have no soul because like I say I don't cry, because I don't.
I cry all the fucking time.
I don't
that's
cry
why
at stuff.
I
was a crybaby as a kid, and somewhere in there I told myself, stop crying so much, and then I did. I did literally. I told myself one day, stop crying so much. I stopped. I
see. I don't cry from pain.
I still get verklempt about stuff, but like it no longer necessarily physically expresses in my body.
Like I suffer like a lot of pain in my job, and I don't cry from that anymore. But Jesus fucking Christ, like media, like I don't know what it is about just like emotional media. Like it doesn't even have to be like emotional. If it's just like a well crafted piece of audio visual work, I'll cry. I was like, man, those angles were so good. Oh, the music matched so well. I cry.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
that just be how you are. But like I said, so like,
yeah,
like I've had issues with like getting my emotions out. Occasionally, I'm a hitter, not of people, because quite frankly, there aren't enough people around. But now I wouldn't hit people anyway because that's dumb. I have punched walls and desks and stuff before, and immediately regretted it. Which is why I try not to do that, but it still happens sometimes. But like I said, like you can tell when Omega is actually angry at stuff because he's like, I want this situation out of my face, and because it's pissing me off, I want it to move, not me.
Yeah, we lost a whale tier patron because of that once, actually.
Was that explicitly because of that?
The what?
Do we know that that's explicitly because of that? Because I kind of figured, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, no, like I
Hey, remember what we were saying about how you engage your audience?
It's important. But yes, no, like that was a genuine moment of peak when I was like, this conversation needs to get the fuck away from me.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I was angry about it, and that is how it is sometimes. There are healthy ways to deal with anger at the same time, there are ways you can deal with stuff that still puts people off, and that just like I say, that is how it is. You cannot perfectly relate to everybody.
No.
But at the same time,
well,
yeah, I'm just gonna say real quick. At the same time, like if I had called that person a fucking man baby or something, like then I'm pretty sure they'd be permanently done with us, as opposed to just slightly done with us.
Yeah. I said, like, for all our differences and all our arguments, like, me and Omega are still pretty solid. Like, it's one of those things, like, we know we can argue with each other, and, like, it won't, I won't even say it'll be more like an argument. It'll be, like, a contestation of facts.
Yeah, I think because in the classical example, that is an argument, like argumentation, like that is a form of like back and forth we have where we will discuss facts and stuff, and we will challenge opinions. But we don't usually mean anything harsh about it because, like we said, there's a lot of fucking harshness in the world. Like, I think what I was trying to get at earlier before I drifted a lot is just, I don't, as a person who had emotional outbursts and anger and stuff as like a kid and as a teenager, as an adult, I'm just like, God, hopefully that's just the nature of your body settling down, because your brain chemistry starts to even out and get a little more focused as you get older and you stop developing, so stuff stops changing all the time for you. But just in general, like looking back from a philosophical point and just like looking back and like, God, that was so much work to be that way, to be that way about stuff. And I just like, I don't have the time for it. I'm a busy person and I don't want to be dealing with that shit. I want to be dealing with the shit that makes me happy, which quite frankly is doing this, both with and without the audience. Because like we've talked about before, we're like, we can sometimes get a little frustrated with the audience, but that just is how it is.
That's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, I've said that a lot, but it fundamentally is that there's, once again, you cannot perfectly relate to everybody. We can try and relate to and understand each other, but like, unless you guys are sitting over our shoulders, literally watching everything we do, which once again, we don't have the time to set that up because, oh my God, that would be such a pain in the ass. But you can't always necessarily perfectly understand what's going on with us. But at the same time, I like getting feedback from the audience. I like it, especially if it's constructive, like most people. But like, just, a little thumbs up. Hey, you did good. Or I actually like this. Or just maybe even, I don't necessarily like this, but I think you still did it okay. That's cool. Or like, I don't necessarily like this, but it's cool that you're doing this stuff. Like, which is good. And as usual, we do not yet have a constant stream of people telling us to kill ourselves. We had that one guy ironically say it, I'm pretty sure, just to get on that bandwagon because we pointed it out, but whatever. That didn't. Oddly enough, that didn't hurt my feelings that guy said that in that context.
I think he said it because he was trying to, okay, now no one else, like he was trying to like claim like first, or like now we can't say that no one has said it to them.
Yes.
But
like I said, somehow that didn't hurt my emotional state at all.
Lighthearted trolling. I think lighthearted trolling is fine. It's like, oh, behold my sarcasm and wit.
Oh, well, I mean, like, those honestly emotionally provocative characters are usually quite interesting. Yeah. What show was it? Oh, well, we'll get into that in a second, because that's on a couple of things I want to round out some topics really quick. Let me double check how long we've been going. We're just over 2 hours. My throat's starting to get a little dry. I don't think it's hit my voice yet, but, so we'll probably wrap up soon. I just have a couple of quick fire topics I want to get through. Boom. Since you talked about anime, I wanted to really quickly mention that I heard from people in places that, hey, you remember Be the Beginning?
Yeah.
It's apparently got a second season greenlit. That's real cool. I'm glad they're actually doing more than one season of that.
Oh, man, where are they going to go now?
I don't know. They've got some unresolved threads, and I have heard this criticism from some people that not necessarily all of the characters get a even amount of spotlight, which is fair. And I could see how some people would not be interested in certain plot lines in that show.
Yeah.
Me, I'm a huge sucker for the genre of urban fantasy. Like, Lucky's talking about before that he has a love for the genre of isekai. Like, you will consume isekai media even if you know it's like super tropey or cliche, or even if there are objectively bad things about it, you still love the genre and will consume it. I'm the same with urban fantasy stuff. Like, I just fucking love that. And so, like, even if there are flaws, I will probably ignore them just to be like, but I love more urban fantasy in my life.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Netflix exclusive. But yeah, so it's by Production IG, which is should be of interest to a lot of our fans because they are sculpted to do, I think it's 2 Camelot movies for FGO. So that'll be really interesting to see. Definitely watch B. I think they stretch their budget a little thin. Some of the later fight scenes are not as dynamic as some of the early ones, but there are some great action scenes in that show, which should let you know to expect they can do some work. Some beautiful shots and choreography.
Let me just say this. Small child-sized thing wielding a fully automatic 50 cal sniper rifle. Okay?
Yeah. Dumb stuff we've talked about. But at the same time, like, a lot of the presentation, the animation is beautiful.
Oh, man, no, like, as a whole, I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
And the climax was, I think, spot on for what the series was trying to do.
Right. What the series was... Well, again, this actually, like I said, I talk about how I'm a criminal justice major. Hey, guess what? I'm also a sucker for police procedurals because I relate to that a lot. I'm like, ooh, they're doing, like, evidence collection and stuff, or they're talking about theories. And just, like I said, visually it was presented very interesting. The marketing's not great because the beginning is not a great searchable title.
Like, literally, it, like, popped up on Netflix, like, out of the blue one day.
But yeah, no, so that's it's still cool, and I'm glad they're doing a second season because I'd love to see them actually do more stuff with the characters.
I want to see more world building.
Yeah, that's also another interesting thing. Like, a lot of stuff just happens in that show and is alluded to, like, past events or other stuff, and they just... I mean, like, you could say that's a bad thing, that there's a little bit too much tell, not enough show, where they, at some points, they info dump stuff on you. But usually it's in, like, the context of, like, okay, I did an investigation, like, 10 years ago, and this is what I found. I found this sort of stuff. Or, and then somebody's like...
That's the thing about mystery, like, mystery-esque things, is sometimes they just have to dump info on you, otherwise people get it. Because a lot of times, like this is, like, something I've noticed, especially in, like, mystery-solving, like, books and genres, like... Mm-hmm. Honestly, like, the things that people are solving, generally your normal, like, layman can't figure out. So if they don't have someone exposit it, you're never gonna fucking understand what the fuck just happened. And even when they do exposit it, you might not know what the fuck just happened.
I think there are fundamentally two types of mystery stories. There's what is sometimes called the fair cop whodunit, the classic whodunit story. And there's, like, a famous writer laid out some rules, right? For, like, what makes a fair mystery, and the idea is that the audience can technically solve it themselves. Because all the evidence is presented to you, and they make sure, like, there's no magic, there's nobody coming back from the dead, there's no, like, secret passages or shit you can't possibly know about. Like, everything has to be, it's a little bit like the Chekhov's gun principle. Like, everything that is integral to the crime has to be presented to you by the story.
Yeah.
If the detective has a pseudo Watson character to, like, prompt exposition, they have to be just a little bit dumber than the audience, right? Like your projected audience, so that the audience can maybe realize some stuff before him and not feel stupid, or, like, if stuff is explained to him, they don't feel stupid, right?
Yeah.
But that's one fundamental type of mystery. The other type of mystery is the you can't solve it until the conclusion type. And a lot of these are focused on the big reveal, which is a classic detective trope. I don't know if I mentioned this a little bit, I think, in that one bonus stage, but there are a series of novels I like. I love Rex Stout's Nero Wolfe series. I own some of them in, like, the original paperback. He published those for years, but they're a kind of chatty, snarky noir story. They're told in the first person by the great detective Nero Wolfe's personal secretary and right-hand man, Archie Goodwin. He's a snarker. Love those stories. Nero Wolfe is the archetypical armchair detective. First of all, he's super fat, right? Like, he is a super gourmet, loves to eat good food, and never leaves his fucking house. He lives the dream, honestly. Like, he's got a rigid schedule. He never leaves his fucking house on business. He doesn't drive himself anywhere because he hates cars. He just pays people to do shit for him. I'm like, God, I want to be that kind of detective. Fuck, I don't want to leave my house. He has a live-in, like, cook and staff at some points. But so obviously when he wants to reveal the killer, he does not appear out of the blue and be like, hi, I'm, Detective Sherlock Holmes. I was in disguise as this old woman the entire time. I have caught you, the murderer. No, Nero Wolfe assembles the fucking people in his office, in his fucking armchairs and couches, and invites the police, and is like, good evening, gentlemen. I will now reveal the killer. I will talk about the entire case and the evidence I have discussed, and almost always to both the audience and to Archie as the narrator, because, like I said, it's in a first-person perspective. Wolfe almost always drops a bomb, like, and while Archie was off-screen there with you, the audience, I got this tidbit of information that clinches the case, and it was that fucking guy. And they're like, oh, gasp, it was that fucking guy. And, like, obviously, there's lead-up.
And
you can almost always tell who it is, but they don't have the physical evidence to clinch it until the climax, and you're like, yes, it was that guy. Or you're like, oh, shit, I never guessed it was that guy.
Personally, I like trying to figure things out as I go. Like, I watch, like, I try to pay attention to things, put the things together, test my own intellect. And so when things are like, oh, no, actually, it was this, like, supernatural thing that, we just literally just pulled out of our ass this last second, I'm just like, I kind of feel gypped. I kind of feel, like, a little insulted. Sometimes the big reveal is worth it.
And, like, the thing about, like, the Nero Wolfe is usually pretty good, because usually it's like, it's pointed out in the narrative, Wolfe paid, like, another detective to, like, I'm sending this guy, who's not our viewpoint character, to go off here and deal with this evidence and follow a lead. And sometimes that comes back directly in there, and sometimes that doesn't come back until the reveal. But, like, it's...
So, going back to the beginning, the way I liked it is they figured out, like, it wasn't like the last episode they figured out what was going on. Like the final episode was the conclusion, but no, they figured out like a few episodes back, and they're trying to act upon that conclusion,
which is good that they another aspect that doesn't, whether or not it's the fundamental mystery type. Another important aspect is when does the audience learn things?
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, if the audience learns the vital clue at the climax, that means that's right. Your point was that now we reveal it.
Yeah.
Some mysteries don't go that way. Some mysteries, it's like, okay, and especially with the way B was much more action-oriented as well. Like, there was police procedural elements, but also there was fucking magic fighting sword hands and legs. For some reason, like I said, I don't necessarily follow why B the beginning is the way it is. I just enjoy it.
It's a mindfuck. It honestly is.
It's a little trippy.
It's a good mindfuck.
Yeah.
It's a good mindfuck.
There are some fucking twists that, like I said, there's not really any clues to. Like, there's maybe some hints that things could be not what they seem, but it's like, there are, like, classic, pull off the mask type, it was me, Austin, the whole time kind of thing, like the classic meme.
Like, the big reveal for the character and, the B, it kind of shocked me, it kind of didn't. I had, a half and half feeling, which I think is probably the best you can, aim for, is when you have the suspicion you know who it is, and then when they do the reveal, you're like, aha!
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of like that perfect balance for me. Like, we're right on the fence of you just need that one piece of evidence.
And also another good thing I like about it's a good element of mystery stories is if both you and the detectives kind of get the feeling that, like, you have a suspect you like for a case, but proving it takes that last little bit. So it's like a vindication for both you and the detective character. Like, that's also really good. Like, if you're like, oh, so clearly we're working off the idea that it's this guy. We just, because more and often not with like a mystery or something, the police are involved. You need to clinch it. You need to build a solid foundation of evidence that leads to an arrest or whatever, or like definitive proof.
Yeah.
If you are missing that aspect, you can't act on your suspicions.
Yeah, so B definitely hits like all the good spots. I'm definitely gonna watch the next season.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do, and also it looked real pretty, like I said. So that was one bullet point. This also maybe just random like internet walking, thinking about stuff reminded me that I haven't gone back and rewatched it, and I might not, but I just was suddenly reminded of a TV show I really liked. I caught it on Netflix later. *Halt and Catch Fire*.
What's that?
Okay, so it was an A&C original series. It ran for like 4 seasons. It is set in the PC boom era from like early 80s to early 90s, which is super interesting to me because I wasn't born yet. But I used a computerized device to watch the show, and I'm using a computerized device to talk about the show to the internet. So, like, it's super interesting to me, and it just deals with a lot of concerns. It starts with like building home PCs, and then it moves into like building internet businesses, and it's very interesting to watch this world and these characters kind of navigate fictionalized but still highly relevant to that world and see this kind of stuff go on, right? Like, it was super interesting to me to see these challenges. Once again, some people in our audience might not like it because, quite frankly, the characters are very real in that they are they're engineers and business people in high-pressure situations, and they're humans, so they're often assholes to each other, sometimes without meaning to, but, like, it's kind of a dark series in that, like, a lot of times because obviously they're fictional, they can't beat IBM or AOL, right? Like, because it's not an alternate history, no. So ultimately you understand some of their ideas are going to fail, but some of them succeed and mirror, like, real-world successes and stuff like that. And it's very interesting to see them work through this stuff. Like, they start in Texas, like I said, competing with IBM for, like, personal computers, and then they move to California for a couple seasons and compete with ISPs for, like, internet connections, or, like, the final season is about building a search engine and web browsers and stuff, and it's super interesting, I think, to just check that out. And I was just reminded of it randomly, like, God, that was a really good show. For like 4 seasons. I like that a lot. Also, period piece, so it's got like period soundtrack and stuff. It's very interesting to check out and think about. So that was another thing that came up. The other thing I really like, what I do when I am not quote unquote on, which is like I'm recording stuff for the channel or I'm researching stuff for the channel, which reminds me, fuck, I have to write a NeroFest pregame for tomorrow. Especially because we're gonna record earlier. I'll do that later. I'm getting a little tired because we've been doing this for 2 hours. Maybe I'm a little dehydrated, but whatever. I'll push through. It's fine. I'll be awake at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'll be like, I'm tired, but I can't sleep. I have to write because that's how I am. But like I said, when I am not on work, I generally relax and stuff. So obviously, gacha games and stuff. That happens a lot. We're balancing some stuff right now. I believe Girls Frontline is about to have another keycard event, which I'm super hyped for. That sounds fun. Plus, we'll be getting an AR for once out of it. Usually they give us pistols and stuff.
AR, a lolly with animals. Call the police.
Yeah, it's one of those the weird combo designs. Then I'm like, okay, but whatever. It's cool. It's an AR. That'll be fun.
I'm gonna put it with my other animal ear. That was assault rifle.
Yeah, we got a lot of animal ears. That's always fun. But yeah, so, and obviously we're working through Azure Lane stuff, and FGO's in a break period, which is cool. I'm not capitalizing it maybe as much as I should, but it's half it be interludes, and I got like 4, and I can't even do most of them because I'm
actually gonna think I'm gonna try and I'm gonna test out this. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I can record my interludes.
That's cool because we posted some interludes, and I would more. Just like I said right now, some of them are locked still. I need to like get like an ascension up, but that means I need to like do some EXPs and stuff. And like, God, I'm trying to spend my time better.
I'm really trying, but they're so boring. Oh my God.
Well, I mean, I don't have any rank ups. I've done all the rank ups for servants I use, so now it's just like a casual thing, which is okay. Like, I don't mind leveling up servants to then do their interludes and rank ups for courts and stuff because I'm used to doing that. But still, it's they're a little dull. And especially we're pretty sure the event after NeroFez will be half AP rank ups. That should be what's included in there. So that would be a great time to do them, right? When they're half AP, so you can knock them out faster.
I'm trying to. I'm super trying to.
But basically what I wanted to say is that the thing that I do even more so than play gacha games to relax right now is play Titanfall 2 still. I just hop on the multiplayer and I play a couple rounds at night when I'm just like, fuck, I'm done working. And honestly, sometimes gacha game stuff feels like work, but we talk a lot on the show, so it's just like, God, Titanfall 2 is so much fun. That's the way I posted a test video of it first.
Actually, I have Titanfall 2 as well. I don't know why we haven't... Well, actually, I'm never played together. That's so weird. I don't know. Well, anyway, you ain't going to get me to be able to play it right now because I got Dragon Quest 11. Yeah. Finally got the US release, and I am having good old RPG times.
That's good. But yeah, like I said, that's my Titanfall 2 is my unwind thing because I can't play Ixtella if I'm not recording it, obviously, and I wouldn't necessarily want to anyway because I've beaten the game once already and done some side missions and stuff, so See,
that's the thing. Like, any game I buy to play, like, to record specifically for the channel, like, that becomes the game for the channel. I can't just play it on my own. I have
obviously, that's a problem sometimes. We've like I've had that thoughts about some of the games we've recorded and stuff. It can be a little annoying, but at the same time, it's fine. Whatever. It's for the channel.
So like that's why I'm like not recording. That's why I didn't get the capture card for Dragon Quest 11. A, because I want to enjoy it, and B, because I'm at like 16 hours into it and I barely hit like the second town or the third town.
Yeah,
like,
big RPGs. Like game. I said, like at some point I would want to record Persona 5 just because we love it so much. That would be like very. I would want to do it like endurance run style, like you and me on a couch somewhere, and it would be not necessarily a grinding type run. Like it would just be a lot of our like first experience, maybe like a fresh save, and just do what we can with a fresh save kind of experience, right? Like it would not be a. Or it could be I have my fucking 100-hour saves, and it's like we're gonna breeze through Persona 5 and just talk about it because fuck you, I can summon Satanael and just wreck everybody.
I literally like just got Satanael in my last because I was replaying Persona 5 for the longest time when it first came out, and I was able to get to Satanael, and then I'm like everything is easy now, I'm done.
Yeah, no, but so like I said, like we could do that one of two ways, but that would very much not focus on the gameplay parts, like. We would either, like, turn the cameras off, basically to grind, or just, like I said, be OP and crush through everything. that's how RPG style games, if you're just gonna play them on your own, are bad for some recordings because either you have to accept to do long stuff or just it's rough.
It's like Game Grumps. Like anytime they do like a long committed game, like any Legend of Zelda game that take forever, and especially when they don't know what to do. Oh boy,
I have mixed feelings on what they do with some Legend of Zelda games. Like I appreciate the look at some of the games I never got to play. But I skipped N64 and GameCube. I was a PS2 kid. I didn't own any consoles in the Genesis. Not even what was the Sega equivalent at that point?
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast, right?
Yeah,
or maybe it was. I'm thinking of like the N64 era. Like, what was that middle era? Was that Dreamcast, or was that
they had the Sega Saturn?
The whole PS1 N64 or whatever Sega still had going on in that aspect era. If that was the Dreamcast, maybe it was because that was discs.
Yeah, but it had to been the Dream.
I missed that era entirely. I went from Super Nintendo to PS2. I knew some kids who had like a PS1 or an N64. We just played GoldenEye and Smash Brothers though. That said, he did have a GameCube, so I am familiar with Wind Waker and I love it a lot, even though I didn't really play it. Honestly, Legend of Zelda is one of those games you can't sit back and watch people play and like look up stuff for people to do. But yeah, no. So my seminal Legend of Zelda experience is A Link to the Past and then Twilight Princess. And I love Twilight Princess, and I've been thinking about if I want to take a break from Titanfall 2, that's going to be my idle time, is because I own a Wii and I've still got my discs for a lot of this stuff, so I might boot up Twilight Princess and do that in my free time.
Oh shit, I totally forgot. Like, I got Hyrule Warriors for the Switch.
What I really need is a Wii U so I can do the HD Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. If I ever get some money, maybe I'll pick those up. Is a Wii U HDMI? I think it's HD. That means I can just plug it into my capture card, and then we can truly challenge ourselves. And you can watch me play Legend of Zelda games with a fucking walkthrough open because I'm.
No, you don't get no walkthrough. Because I have played Wind Waker and stuff. Like, I haven't played Skyward Sword, but like let's see,
Skyward Sword people have very mixed feelings on, which I understand.
Like, I played a fuck ton of Legend of Zelda games. I've played Zelda 1. I haven't beat it. I never played Zelda 2. Never played Zelda the CD. But I beat A Link to the Past. Mm-hmm. I beat Ocarina of Time. I beat Majora's Mask. I beat Wind Waker. I beat Wind Waker HD. I beat Twilight Princess. I beat Breath of the Wild. I beat Minish Cap. Like, Legend of Zelda is definitely in my top 3 favorite IPs.
Yeah, it's a great IP.
If we're playing Legend of Zelda, I will sit with you and I will guide you, but you don't get a walkthrough.
That would be fair. Also, that would be a fair buddy cop dynamic. Which, quite frankly, is probably what when they started it, what Game Grumps should have done was like. I mean, at least for the original Wind Waker playthrough, like Dan brought a lot of power with like storytelling and stuff and a lot of points. Mm. Which was good, because quite frankly, Aaron was trying too hard to focus on the entertainment aspect, and he refuses to read the screen. Aaron Hansen has some thoughts on game design, which I don't necessarily agree with, but like we said about it, he is entitled to his opinions. I do feel like there have been times where he gets frustrated with games and takes it out on them, but
because he's not paying a fucking attention.
But he also has thoughts that like the game shouldn't ever have to have a tutorial to tell you how to do something. It should organically tell you through play. I feel like that's a little too harsh, especially with like controller setups. Like you sometimes need a reminder of what you're doing and what buttons do what. And if the screen can totally fucking tell you, hey, idiot, in case you forgot, because maybe you put this game down for like a week and came back, to lock on, you hit this button, and to do this, you do that button. I'm pretty sure tutorials have overall improved game experiences, and the reason why old games didn't have tutorials is because they couldn't fit them for size constraints. So they had to come up with clever ways to teach you to do mechanics, and in some cases, never teach you how to do mechanics, and literally you had to just throw shit at the wall until it stuck. Which is, I don't think, great game design for mechanics in general. For hard games like Dark Souls and stuff, where like a lot of bosses are trial and error because you are explicitly supposed to be able to iterate the game until you figure out what works. At the same time, they still tell you what all your basic controls and shit are, right? They give you all your building blocks, and then they give you a problem, which is like, okay, we've given you the pieces, learn how to solve it.
Continue to smash your blocks against the problem so you got a solution.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good kind of organic game design. They still had a fucking tutorial where they're like, this is baby mode, we're gonna teach you what all the controls are, we're gonna teach you some of our tricks. Yes, and now die constantly, and literally throw yourself at the problem, dying over and over again until you get it right.
Yeah.
Which can be entertaining. I wish I could play those games more. Like, I like Bloodborne a lot, but at the same time, it's super stressful for me. And I'm the same with, like, horror games. Like, certain kinds of high-tension games are just hard to do. It's like because games are my relaxing experience. They're hard to do sometimes.
Like, I don't mind a challenging game, but, like, I think I've mentioned this. Like, I don't like games that that forcefully limit my options. And, like, I mean, I mean forcefully limit my options. Like, all you can do is run and maybe hide. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
Like, I can't do that games because it just frustrates me from a game design. It's like, if your only way to think you to actually make this like a scary experience is by making me virtually useless in anything I do.
I don't think that's good. I can see what they're going with. They're trying to be like, oh, it's a metaphor. You have no agency. But then it's like, but in real life you have agency, so you need to like address that. I mean, that's like, I deal a lot with cosmic horror. The first tabletop game I ever ran was Call of Cthulhu.
Like, honestly, like, the best horror is when you have agency and you're still fucked.
Yeah. No, like, that's the dynamic storytelling is like, oh yeah, you have guns and shit, and you can you can blow up ghouls all day long. Oh, Azathoth got summoned. Yeah, roll sand. You die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nyarlathotep showed up. He melts your minds, and you go crazy, and you die.
Yeah. It's like,
and just like, yeah, working... no, that's a much more interesting type of question. Like, and like, that's a good thing that, like I said, Alien Isolation give me too much my heart beating and stuff, but it's got a good game design because you get tools, you get a gun pretty early on.
Like,
it's a fucking low power like space revolver. It's using like subsonic bullets so you don't accidentally cause any hull breaches. So it's fucking useless against the xenomorph, but like hostile androids or humans being assholes, it'll solve them real good.
Yeah.
Which is good, because it's like it gives you a
like,
tool, and then against the real threat, the tool's fucking useless.
Yeah, so like, honestly, Alien Isolation is one of the games I want us to play when we actually consolidate.
Oh yeah, no, like there are some games we're gonna do what I've heard as I'm not familiar with like where it comes from, but the quote unquote plapes rule, where okay, you died, we switch, because that is a natural tension break. Okay, yeah. I ratcheted up, I was running real high, I died. Okay, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna pass the controller. You take a shot. I will cycle down. You cycle up, and we switch off. And that's a good way to handle those games, especially as like a let's play medium.
Yeah, but Alien Isolation I think has games like Resident Evil 4 and Dead Space. They kind of do it, but they focus more on the action. Because
also,
like, if
those,
you play, like, you
those games I think have a much they have much more survival aspects. They've got that focus on inventory space and inventory management, which, as personally, like I love playing Tetris as a kid. I played some Jenga. Like fitting shit into inventory systems. I'm like, yes, this satisfies me somehow. I like wiggling with this. At the same time, I'm a hoarder. I know you are a hoarder because I've played tabletop games with you. At the same time, that's obviously very frustrating. It's like, God, I just want to carry this big fuck off gun, and you will not let me. No, I would literally die. I would be dragging this giant gun through this situation because, like, this thing is gonna solve some fucking problems. Fuck you guys. Why are you trying to carry 12 rockets? Normally humans only carry one of those. I'm like, because they're gonna be useful later. Fuck you, it's a rocket launcher. But yeah, no, like that's. The survival aspect is entirely different than like the just because with Alien it's almost Metroidvania-esque. Like you pick up tools to like solve engineering problems, which also means you gain mobility. Like you can get a cutting torch to cut through certain hatches. You get like a space pry bar to like pop locks basically at some point, stuff like that. You just keep all that shit on you. Like I don't think there's a hard inventory limit from what I remember from what I played in that game.
Yeah, I guess inventory management is another type of agency.
Yes.
It's like, what do you keep? What do you keep? What do you leave behind? tells you, it basically lets you flesh out who you are as a player and what your style is.
Mm-hmm. Which is good. Agency is key.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only other one thing I wanted to mention, which I think is kind of where we're going to round out, because we're over 2.5 hours. We're having another long show. I'm going to be... Actually, I probably won't be up super late because we're recording earlier. I'm not going to be awake at like 5 a.m. being like, oh my god, is this thing going to fucking render? No? Okay, I'm going to sleep. Which happens, because it literally takes that long. But the one more thing I wanted to mention is... maybe not over the past couple days, because I've been catching up on other stuff, but I got into the YouTube show Hot Ones lately.
What's that?
I'm gonna pitch this to you, Lucky. So imagine you've got an interviewer and you've got an interviewee, and they've gotten both internet people and like actors and comedians and stuff on there. Like Terry Crews was on a show. Seth Rogen has been on one that I haven't watched. Stuff like that. But it's an interview show. But between questions, they eat consecutively spicier hot wings.
Oh my god! No, I've seen this. We have both have access to the StudiOmega YouTube account, and I've been seeing like those on the recommendations. It's just these people. I'm like, they look like they're eating something really hot, and I've just been curious about it.
Because they start with like normal stuff. Like the first one's like a regular ass spicy sauce, like you'd put in a hot wing, or like sriracha or something, like a normal table. Like one of them was even like Tabasco sauce, I think, for one season, and then they get to like novelty, like hundreds of thousands or millions of Scoville units, the official measurement of spice, and they're eating them, and they're like, and I'm like, this is super entertaining, because I think that's an interesting experience, because I'm not afraid of spicy food. Like, I've said this before, I'm not a masochist. I do not enjoy pain and suffering. I don't mind spicy food, though, if it's good. Like, I fucking love chicken. Like, I could talk about my relationship with chicken all day. Here's a fun fact about Omega. So one time my parents moved, and they got a relocation budget because my dad was moving to a new management position. So they're like, well, until you get settled in at your house, you know, we'll pay for your meals and your room and board and stuff. So we ate out every night for 30 days, and every one of those days I had chicken fingers. For 30 days straight, at like whether it was at Red Lobster or it was at Olive Garden or whatever, any of those types of restaurants, chicken fingers, 30 days. Didn't bother me at all. I was ecstatic. I love chicken. And like I said, I don't mind spicy chicken either. So.
I'm sorry, now I just want to... We haven't made a shirt in a while, and I just want now a shirt that says chicken fingers, 30 days. Go.
I'll do it. We haven't made a shirt in a while. We don't sell a lot of shirts. I really wish we did more. I understand, though, why people are hesitant, but, like, God... We've had some funny ideas. God, I'll make a 30 days of chicken finger shirt.
30 days of chicken fingers.
If I could clone and split Artist Lucky from Editor Lucky and from Recording Lucky, I just need to clone you because you do all the shit I don't. If I could get Artist Lucky to like doodle me a dumb doodle of chicken fingers.
Oh my god, I need clones of myself so bad. Like,
you do, because
like I haven't been able to art like at all.
You are such a crux of this operation. Like I obviously I don't want to sell myself short. I do some work, guys. Like I said, I manage the Patreon, and like I make sure stuff gets posted there. I make sure we do updates for patrons and so on and so forth. I check on check and see if there's any problems with people's dashboards. Like I said, I do the reminders in the show. Like, hey, some people got declined this month. You might want to double check that. I do a lot of like promoting. Yeah, Axe brought up. We would do what most channels do is eventually if we got enough pay to hire an editor, maybe not full time, but just in general. Yes, we get somebody to edit the audio for us and edit. That said, I would not want to necessarily lose the majesty of Editor Lucky, at least for some of our shows. But yes, for some stuff, we would definitely hire a full time editor to just edit our content, and Lucky could focus on other stuff. But like as we are now, it's like we there's two of us. We wear all the hats. And if I physically can't do something because I cannot art very good. I don't have the setup to do digital art anyway. Like I can dick around at MS Paint. Like, I do like funny edits and stuff. I make a lot of our thumbnails. But like the Let's Talk FGO thumbnails, literally all of them are me. But you may notice like, God, some of these heads that are clipped out are not like clean. Because it's some in fucking MS Paint manually erasing all the lines because I don't have the fucking tools or the money or the experience. Like this is all self-taught. It's taken me years to get to the point where I can fucking cut out heads and poorly paint over them. So like whenever I want art assets, I have to question myself: does Lucky have the time, and if he does have the time, can I get him to do this? The answer is usually no. On both.
Yeah, sometimes after something, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get to it, and I'll totally forget about it till he brings it up. I'll be like, oh yeah, I was supposed to do that. Because
I just accept it because I'm the same way. Because like I said, like a lot of my free time has been spent in stuff that you guys won't see directly for a while because I've been working on like Mages of War, my homebrew stuff. And that's just like I said before. That's just the nature of the beast. I have a creative idea. I'm chasing it, perfecting this thing. I'm real close, I think, to a functional thing where like, other than small details, there's nothing to add. Though I say that every time, and then I come up with another idea.
I am trying so hard to finish my Brave Liz pick. I really am. Mm-hmm. I want to get it done before the actual Halloween event. Like, that's the goal.
That'd be fun. Hey, I could use it in the show then. Or you could use it in the show. We could use it and stuff. But yeah, so, like, that's always a funny thing. I will probably just instead find a funny stock art of a chicken and stick it on the chicken finger shirt. But yeah, no, like, that's a thing for us, is just, like, we wear all the hats. Our work is probably not distributed evenly, but it's distributed to what we can all do.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
I don't have to like
it just
I like the I guess I say creative art. Like, I don't know if they're really distinctive. Like, you're better with like the written word, I'm better with the I don't know what to call it. Written word, and
yeah,
they're both types of arts in my books. It's just
I would say I am slightly
Visual?
better at our organization and at planning stuff out, and that's just a natural thing to me. Is I don't like to go into things unprepared, so I am the guy who, like, I'll do a little research, or I'll come up with something, I'll smash some notes out, I'll make some bullet points or whatever, and then, you know, it grows to like a 500-page document or something. Because I enjoy writing on subjects. That's my style. Lucky, you do research and you do take notes, but from experience, your notes are often minimalist, and you use that to just springboard into, all right, I'm gonna talk for like 10 minutes now. And I'll be like, okay, you go.
Like, yo.
So yeah, like that's we have slightly different creative styles, which works for the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was talking about hot ones, and like, just like, one, it makes me want hot wings, and two, it's just like, I would love to try that sometime, because I've never really gotten into like the actual challenge of like different spicy food. Like, how would that be? Would some of them just be like, oh my god, this hurts so much, I'm gonna like drink a gallon of water, I'm done?
You don't drink water. That actually makes it worse. You need to drink milk.
No, like, and they do that on the show. They have both water and they have both milk. Like, milk neutralizes the spice, but like, if you get a hot feeling, like, you want to drink a little bit of water because you feel like you're dehydrating.
Yeah. But no, because I remember they had another show, like the Hot Pepper Challenge, which they would have like YouTube stars on. Because I remember
that was a thing.
Like,
Hot Pepper Gaming.
Aaron Hansen went on it one time and nearly died.
Yeah, that I couldn't do because a pepper is like a fruit vegetable thing, and I'm like, fuck no, that's a pain in the ass. You want to turn that into a sauce and put that on some chicken though. I'll try it. I'll try it and see if it's good. And I would probably, because I am not necessarily fortified in the aspect of eating super spicy food, because quite frankly, like I said, some of these are novelty sauces. They're like jokes. Like, you trick your friend into using this sauce for a prank kind of thing. Like, it's not serious food. Like, people don't do that normally.
See, now you're talking about this, now I want to make some like spicy sriracha, like pulled chicken sliders.
I could eat that. I could eat some chicken sliders. God.
Lucky,
I'm gonna go eat dinner after this.
Lucky is also a cook, because guess what, people? Being able to be good in the kitchen, the females really appreciate that. Pro tip. It works for Emiya. It can work for you.
Yes, like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with food. Preparing food and stuff can take a lot of time out of my day, whether or not it's because I'm distracted and not focusing on it, or just the actual physical hustle and bustle of run up and downstairs for shit takes time. So like,
Real talk, if I'm not cooking for someone else, I'm eating a goddamn sandwich.
No, that's fair.
The only time I make
that's about the extent of the amount of ass I'm actually willing to put into feeding myself. Is like, fuck, okay, I'm hungry. Is there something? Do I feel like something that I've got like frozen on hand that I can work with, or refrigerated I can assemble? No, okay, let's make a fucking sandwich. Though I live in Florida, so we have to refrigerate the bread too.
Oh God.
Because it's hot and humid here, and you will get mold.
Yes, you will.
But yeah, no. So like, but yeah, no. Like that's about the typical limit of my stuff is like sandwich. I can make a sandwich. Theoretically, I can like scramble eggs. I can make quesadillas.
X, don't make it a secret object. Be that great house husband. I'm gonna be a great house husband. Be a house husband. It's fucking.
Well, you
great.
are because you're probably gonna be working on this shit still.
Yeah.
Which honestly would be great if you didn't have to go to work. You get more time. We could balance shit out. I could focus more specifically on my project. You could focus on your stuff. We'd have a more balanced channel. We could probably put more effort into stuff.
No, but, dude, man, if I put 40 hours a week into this, do you know how much shit I would crank out?
No, I agree. You'd probably put me to shame. You'd make me feel bad because I can technically put as many hours into this as I like, and I do a decent amount behind the scenes. But then I would drive to me to do more content.
You see, here's the thing. Like, I'm trying to tune the StudiOmega content to be my ADD tick, which is really, really hard because my previous ADD tick was video games and anime, which is basically, it just basically means like whenever I let my mind wander, it wanders to doing StudiOmega stuff, or I just naturally am able to focus on doing StudiOmega, because otherwise, if I'm not doing that, whatever I am doing, I will just float the fuck away. Because, as I said, like, ADD, it's really hard for me to focus on shit, so I have to put in a lot of fucking effort sometimes. So, like, sit, do it, like Shia LaBeouf intensifies, okay?
Mm-hmm. Just do it. All right, speaking of just doing it, we need to end the show because now I'm fucking hungry. And we've been going for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
When we consolidate, I will make you spicy chicken sliders, all right? It is a promise.
Sweet. And I could probably flip the favor. Like I said, I theoretically know. I've never done it, but I've well, actually, that's not true. I didn't necessarily do the prep work, but I had somebody prep and freeze some quesadillas that I put through a quesadilla maker. I could flip that around. I usually just eat chicken and cheese, but you can put whatever the fuck you want in a quesadilla. Anyway, we're getting done talking about food. This isn't a food show. I'm going to wrap this up. Hey, if you like this, go ahead and give us a like. Leave your comments on any of the fucking nonsense we talked about. We talked about, serious, internet and political and, what the rhetorical state of our society is. And now we're talking about spicy chicken. Welcome to What's Up, ladies and gentlemen.
Lucky
so if you got any comments about any of the things we talked for 2 hours and over 45 minutes about, don't leave those in the comment section down below. You can also hit us up on our Discord. And as always, if you are new here for some reason and you put up with us for this long, first of all, thanks. Kudos to you. Good on you. Pat yourself on the back. You can subscribe to us, obviously, and even if you are subscribed, don't forget that bell for notifications, because like we said, our posting schedule is a little chaotic because it's ruled by our live schedule, so, click that bell, make sure you always know when we post a video. Okay, I'm tired now. I'm gonna go. Lucky, you got any final thoughts for the good people of What's Up?
When in doubt,